Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Fresh Sim Racing. This is a live stream event for you tonight. We're bringing you round one of our second season of our Club Sprint Race Championship. This is a very, very interesting race series to do tonight. There's going to be, we're going to stay here for Oulton Park. We're going to have 5 different cars for you. Out on track right now, we've got the Renault Clios, the Renault Clio Cup cars. They're going to be followed then by the Ginetta GT5s. The third race is going to go and be the Aston Martin DBR1, a very good vintage car there. From there, we're going to go on to the Lamborghini Super Trofeo and finish up our night with the Formula Renault 3.5s. Very tricky cars, actually, got these Renault Clears. We just see that is Ice going for a little bit of a sideways moment there. But yeah, it's got an interesting event. I hope you're all going to enjoy it. If you're there, come and join us in the chat. I've got the chat window open, so feel free to drop us a message and we'll try and get back to you if you're there watching us. So you support, if any family members there or close fans, let me know. Right now, I'm joined in the little fake commentary booth here. We have as amateur sim racing drivers with Seasons 1 champion, Ambient Stubb. Ambient, how are you doing this evening? Have you had a bit of time for the champagne to get through, the taste of champagne to go? Absolutely. We're bringing 4 new cars this season. The only car to stay with us is the Ginetta GT5. What is your favourite car from last season?
It probably was the Jessica, to be honest. Went for that car a long time. And I think the car that we all were at the correct or close racing.
And which one are you most looking forward to? Which one do you think is going to be the one to clinch the championship for season 2?
I'm hoping to be strong in the vintage car. I like it's got a fast slider going out for sure. So we'll see. But trust.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a key element in this, because you can be further down for round 1, but coming in round 2, round 3, round 4, you can get the good balance off. As you see here, we're in a practice session. There's 4 minutes or so left to go. Then we're going to jump straight into the race with those random grids, and it could be absolute mayhem, but it could also be such good fun. I know you guys are our with open mics on your side of things, so you expect who's going to be the most ribbing, who's going to give you the most trouble, do you think? Absolutely perfect. Well, enjoy what's left of your practice, and we'll speak to you either later on tonight or one of the other rounds. Good luck for the season, Stub. No
Thanks a lot,
problem.
lovely.
That was Ambient Stub, our recent champion, and he's going to be there to put the cat amongst the pigeons again for season 2. Hopefully, we're riding on board with him here as we're watching him coming into this very interesting chicane. Gets way off the line and that very curve, unsettles the car and then back onto the power quickly. Very interesting at the top of things this practice session. Kingy leads the practice so far. Wouldn't take these times with too much pinch of salt, to be honest. Expect the drivers to pull a few good lap times out here and there. As Kingy's just gone a little bit quicker there at the top. He's a little bit ahead of Fail. And the same sort of round, you got Johnny Joyrider there, very quick driver, races in real life in the BMW series. Unfortunately, is missing out on a race in November for the end of the season, but it's nothing we can have with the current world situation. But hopefully, he'll enjoy the racing we've got on for him instead. Ice Dude, he's a very, very good racer. He's had a little bit off form recently. He's kind of been in the mid pack, but he definitely has the pace, definitely has the ability to keep pushing forward. Here we've got Sam Dumfinger. He pushed Ben into all sorts. You've got Kingy and Ambient Stub also all vying for championship position. So Sam's on a really good lap here. He's 2 seconds up as he comes into the final corner. Dealing with a little bit of audio feedback in my ear at the minute, so I'm just gonna have a check on some settings. Don't want to hopefully you're not getting this feedback as well that I'm getting. Here we go. Yes, hopefully everything's okay for you guys, and you'll be the good people going to watch the stream back, just making sure we aren't getting that bit of a feedback loop. No, checking my side of things. It sounds like all the sound is going perfectly well. So we're looking at the last minute of practice now. Sam has set a blistering time up front, 2 seconds in front of Kingy, who's in the pits right now. 13 drivers currently on the grid. Some new drivers too. We saw Vale side racing at the end of last season, came with 2 races to go and was really quick. Johnny Joyrider, we've raced with him before, but he hasn't been in his club race series, so he'll be interesting to watch. Larnaca is a very quick driver. He's part of the Stub band of quality. So expect Larnaca to make his way through. He really likes a good battle, and it's certainly something he's going to have in these cars. That is your practice done. So just waiting now for the guys to get round to the grid. And then we can bring you the first race of Season 2 in our Club Sprint Race Championship. The Flying Scotsman there taking a little bit too much curb. But he does keep it on track and he gets round to the final bend. So about a minute or so, minute and a half to go. Unless the drivers make it back to the pits a little bit sooner. There we go, the reigning champion, as it will, out there on top. He sets the fastest time, half a second, nearly quicker than Sam Thumfinger in third. very interesting into all sorts there in second. He's definitely going to be pushing in this race. He's going to be hoping for a top half random grid order, hopefully. So we'll go from there. Charlie Garfey's a master in these front wheel drive cars. We've seen this in our touring car series. Charlie got some very quick in the random again, so a little bit less power. Let's see what he can pull out here. He's got a time, fast and veil, but again, take these times with a pinch of salt. Who's left run on track? Jinx is driving around. He looks like he's done at the pace he's going. There we go. Practice session is now over. The drivers will be sweating in their seats. Let's have a look at what we've got here then. Just waiting for the lobby to catch up. Let's hope the lobby's not frozen on us, because that will be an interesting development there. Just checking with the other guys on track to see if this is a bit of a glitch in the system. As it does look like this lobby is stuck. A few glitches here on Project Cars 2. Unfortunately, we do have to race with them. That is the way things go. So just bear with me for a few moments whilst we're dealing with these technical issues. I have got access onto the times on the screen. Let's just check to see what is happening here. Have we got all 13 drivers? No. So we are going to need to leave this lobby and get a new lobby. Looks like Sam is on it though. So we'll hold fire in here just for a moment whilst we get this new lobby set up. There won't be a practice on this one. Practice has happened now. These guys know the track. They should get pretty much set up straight to the race, and then we'll get to bring you the first race. Really excited to bring you this one. It's been a while since we've had a good stream for you. See a few cars moving all over the place there. Don't worry too much about that. We will be bringing you racing very shortly. Just take this time to, if you're there, join us. You're there watching us. Be sure to drop a like if you're enjoying it. Obviously, you haven't seen much so far, but hopefully you will get to see a bit more later on. As we jump to the new lobby, here we go. Let's see who we got here. We've got somebody in the party chat or game chat.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we're getting everybody back into this lobby and get everything sorted from there. And we'll get to your racing. This is a race series. It's going to be happening on every Friday night. Hopefully, we'll have less glitches than this. There's other race series we have here at Fresh Sim Racing. We do a touring car series that happens on a Sunday night at the moment. British touring cars. We do the touring cars around British tracks. 7 races around there. And on a Wednesday night we do a endurance race series with BMW and Pro cars. They're brilliant cars to race with a few fuel restrictions and tyre restrictions to make things just a little bit more challenging for the types of drivers who don't like to get you settled. Really good tracks around there. We raced our round 1 on Wednesday. That was at Imola, and it was Ambient Stub who ended up with the win in that race. In the touring cars, it's happening on Sunday, will be round 2. Round 1 spoils went to Ollie, who is not racing tonight. Yeah, Ollie's not racing tonight. He's not with us, but he will be back for the touring cars on Sunday. So who are we missing from our lobby? We've got Salmon's in here, Charlie Goff's in here, Nico and Ice Dude is here. So who is in this lobby? Let's have a quick check. You see, 15-minute race here, set to a certain time. The season is going to go through a real season. This sort of racing, as we maybe saw in season 1, we put a few of the clips on there for you. It is trying to simulate a club racing event you'd get at a normal weekend. Simplified a few things here for season 2, where we are going to be keeping it to the one time, then races now just 15 minutes rather than set number of laps, so the guys will be able to keep track of the time that is left to run. I think the guys are checking to see that everybody is in the lobby and ready to go, and then we're going to be bringing to the race and see what fun that random grid brings. I think that's someone in the wrong chat there. There we go. The last few people we've been waiting for. There's Enter All Sorts, and another relatively newcomer here, Kobe Zufka, who I believe is a Belgian driver, along with Ice Dude, another Belgian driver. So we have 2 Belgians driving on the grid. And then a few other nationalities going in there. So here we are, Oulton Park International for race 1. Let's see what this brings and see what the random grid brings out. The guys have had their practice. They had a bit of a game glitch meltdown, so hopefully we're through the issues now. And we're going to bring you 5 really good races, and you get to watch a little bit of everything about what we're all about. The guys on the other side of the lobby, they have open mics, so they're going to be chatting to each other. There is no teams in this. Every driver is out for themselves. There's no rules against creating little teams during the race. If they want to work together, they can do. Let's see how everything goes. So on the grid we have, that is Ambient Stub. He is our current champion. He's there to defend his grid. In P2, newcomer Larnica. Larnica's really quick. Ice Dude is in P3. Kingy's P4. Wayne, my teammate, is in P5. I'm rooting here for Wayne. I expect him to come out of turn 1 with a really good finish. Let's see that consistently comes in there. He is racing with a little bit of an injury at the moment, but let's see how he fares from there. Veilside's P6, Charlie Goff P7, Johnny Joyrider, a new guy to us in P8. There's Kobe Zufka in P9. The Flying Scotsman is in P10. Flying Scotsman's very quick. Let's see him straight with the grid. Sam Thumbringer in P11. Jinx P12, and Into All Sorts getting the rub of the green there. He is in P13, and I can tell you now he'll be in the chat, and he'll be furious with that position right there. But just waiting for these guys to come to the grid. I just have to choose between the loose setup and the stable setup on the grid. Hopefully all 13 drivers will be here for the start of the race. They've got 2 minutes in Project Cars 2, 3 minutes to get their setups chosen, and then on to the race. They'll have to set up a pit strategy for in case there is damage, but I think we're here ready to rev up. And we are away. Ambient Stub has a relatively good clean getaway. Larnica is on the inside coming into turn 1, and look at the variance of colours of these clears coming in round. Ambient giving Larnica room on the outside there, but runs a little bit wide on the curb, a little bit more chaos further back. And Ambient does lead down, but can he keep Larnica behind him for the next 14 minutes? That is the question. Oh, there's a car spinning around there. That is the number 5 car at the back there. Who is the number 5 car? That is Wayne had a spin there at the back. He's the one I touted for good things, and just car got a little bit too loose coming round into the second corner. There's a car going there, purple car 150 or 130. That is Larnica potentially. No, Larnica is still in P2. So there's your race leader, Ambient Stub. He is there in a 32 car, leading Larnica in 130. He's under pressure there from Veilside in the 24 as they come down into Knickerbrook. Ice Dude's held his position. He's in P4. There he's being hunted down by Johnny Joyrider. A really good start for Johnny. And Kingy's in P6. Charlie Guff, expect him to start climbing up through the grid here. He's really quick in these front wheel drive, as long as he can keep everything pointed the right way. Sam Thumbringer is there in P8, and then there's a bit of a gap then to Kobe Zufka. He's in the number 20 car there. There's Wayne recovering from his earlier injuries. Hope he's not carrying damage. We'll see if he comes to the pits for any repairs. If he does, there's a chance he'll be the lap down. There's Jinx in P11, Flying Scotsman P12, and Inter at the back. He must have caught up in all that commotion there. Just watching on board here, Vale, who's under a little bit of pressure. Ambient Stub has the perfect start here. He's now getting 2 seconds ahead and he's branching away. These front guys starting to pull away from the rest of the field. In fact, the rest of the race at the moment is happening a bit further back. There's a 5-car battle here for what is effectively P4 and potentially P3. These guys separated from 3rd down to 8th by less than 2 seconds. There's number 19. There's Kingy, and there's a car off further ahead. There's a car further ahead, and that's caused a bit of carnage. For the Flying Scotsman's into the pits for damage repairs. That's promoted Wayne up into ninth. Ambient Stub is a way out front here if we're looking through the trees. As he's going around Shell Curve, he's well out front and preventing a few mistakes there. He should get the race. There's Larnaca under pressure from Vale's side. Oh, Larnaca's just caught the inside of that pillar there. Designed to stop cars cutting the corners, and he's just got a little bit too close. He will have a lot of damage on his car for sure. I wouldn't expect him to pit though. Expecting him to battle through this. Vale's side is now promoted up to P2, and he is now free to hunt down the Stub, the champion, the guy who owns the trophy for the entire race series from last year, and he owns a couple of the independent race trophies as well. He is the GT5 champion as well, and we've got those cars coming up for you next. Here is Charlie Goff, is chasing down the closest battle on track at the moment. He is hunting down Sam Thumbfinger as they come to complete the end of lap 2. So coming on to lap 3 now. There's 11 minutes remaining in this first sprint race in the Clio cars. And it is Ambient Stub who is out front. He has a 3-second advantage on Valeside Racing. Third is Larnaca. He's now being chased down by Sam Thumbfinger. These two guys, very friendly when they're not side by side racing, but they are both at each other's necks whenever they're racing for friendliness racing online. Here's Charlie Goff. He's in P5. Kingy is a bit further back now. Is he coming into the pits? No, he's not. Just a glitch of the camera there. Kingy's in P6. Johnny Joyrider, he is in P7. You see him come over the brow. Look at the damage he's carrying on the front of the aero there, though. That bumper is flapping around in the wind. There is Inter All Sorts behind. Not sure what happened to him at the start, but he is the master of the comeback race. He does like to make it difficult for himself. And he's not been well recently, so we're hoping he gets a speed of recovery. There's Ice Dude. He's been hunted down by Jinx here, and there's some damage on Ice Dude's car as well. In fact, these two are battling as they come down the straight. Has Jinx got the power? Ice has kind of bullied him off the apex there, and away it goes. Further ahead, though, Larnaca is now behind Sam. Larnaca, he must be struggling with a bit of damage there that he's picked up on the inside of that barrier we saw last lap. These cars coming up the hill now into the Druids. Let's have a quick look on board with what Larnaca's currently seeing as he's drifting his car into turn 1 of Druids and gets onto the power. The car fights him every inch of the way there. You can see ahead that is Valeside Racing in P2. Sam Thumbfinger ahead, who's just made the move to get into P3, and Larnaca sits in P4. Little bit of a wobble on the exit of the corner. That's fine. He won't get a penalty for that. He just won't be able to do that too often. Here's Charlie Gaff behind you, seeing his view as well. Very late braking, gets the car sideways and puts on the power again. Rides over the curb. Nice corner there for Charlie Gaff. He's hunting down Larnaca, who is carrying that little bit of damage, and Charlie Gaff is very quick. He's racing on the controller. A little bit further back, here's Inter All Sorts. He's moved up into 7th now and chasing down Kingy. On the ride on board as he sweeps round to the right-hander. In now to this very tricky left-hander. There's only really one line round here, but he's got a great run off the corner here. Kingy looks to defend, thinks better off it. Has he got the move done? He is ahead. Look for the car on the inside there, and Inter All Sorts there does fly across the front of Kingy just to show you I am here. Further ahead, we've got Charlie Goff close the gap a bit more to Larnaca in P4. And further ahead of him, here's Sam Thumbfinger all over the back of Valeside Racing. Valeside, well, both cars actually locking up a little bit, just getting these front-wheel drive cars to turn. Very, very light cars. The field is getting a bit more spread out now, as some cars have had a couple of incidents. Some guys are racing with damage, some not. We saw the Flying Scotsman in for some damage repairs earlier. He's still got a little bit of damage repair, but he's flying round. Now in P13, soon to be P12. There's Kobe there. He's just letting Mikey know that he's there, and not to force the issue too much. We don't know much about Kobe. We do know he's a very young but very excited racer, and we are hoping to see a bit more of him. See him battling with the field as he gets quicker and quicker. 2-minute 2 there out front. Ambient Stub is putting down the pedal there. He's setting the screens. Like, let's look at the best lap so far. There's the bonus point for the best lap time here. If we go towards the top screen, the Sam with a 149.8 there. He holds it currently. Ambient Stub with the 150.2. Vales in the 51s, as is Larnaca. Charlie Goffin into all sorts around the 150s. And then the rest of the field are battling around, but I don't think a few of these guys have had a clean lap to speak of, so expect these guys to start putting the foot down very, very shortly. What have we got out on track though, as we are midway through lap 5? It is still Ambient Stub who leads Valeside, and Sam very close behind. He's just not able to get close enough to the car ahead to put a dive on inside. This is a very tricky track here for overtaking. There's Larnaca coming over the hill there with Charlie Goff in tow. Same situation with Charlie Goff, just not able to get his car close enough to push the tape. But he has got his lights on now to really push the issue. In fact, is that a mistake there for Valeside? Because Sam Thumbfinger is now up into P2. Yes, Valeside has dropped from being half a second ahead to 4 seconds behind. And Larnaca is all over the back of him as it comes to Druids. He's got to be careful here, Valeside, because he's going to lose not just the 1 place, but he could lose the 2 behind. These 2 clears are absolutely rapid as we're coming through down into the final corner. Very tricky braking zone. As you can see, there's a lot of changes on the track there, a few bumps up and down. Valeside keeping it on the edge, but just about legal with his racing line. The line does belong to the drivers. We don't race with the track limits on, but we do review their racing conduct, and he will have to seem to, as he's done there, run very, very wide. If he gains an advantage from that, he will have his lap times punished. Larnaca's not able to catch up a little bit there. He's having to defend from Charlie Goff. We still have the 13 drivers in this race with 5 minutes remaining. It is Ambient Stub out front. He's having his time cut very quickly though. Ambient Stub is on lap 6, but there is Sam Thumbfinger who's got that gap down from 6 to 4 seconds very quickly. Valeside is still there. He's got a little bit more breathing room now as the 2 guys behind battle it out. There's Larnaca and Charlie Goff. Let's have a look at the bit further back. There's Inter All Sorts. He's now in a bit of a race on his own. He's pulling away from Kingy behind, but he's not really reeling in the guys ahead. 4 minutes to go. I wouldn't expect many changes as long as he can keep it on the black stuff. There's Kingy number 19. Expect that number to be repeated throughout the night. He's there and he's going to be happy, I think, getting used to these front wheel drive cars. I've not known if he drives these front wheel cars very often, but he is there. Johnny Joyrider with seemingly less and less of his car as he's going around Shell Curve there, and he does, yeah, there he goes. I think there's a bit of a connection spike there, but he is still on track. 47 seconds down. He is in front of Ice. Again, these are the sort of cars who have picked up a little bit of damage now. Jinx, his car looks relatively clean though. He's looking to improve his consistencies. And at 2 minutes sort of lap times, he's not particularly quick. He's not up the leaders, but that's not what is important here. He's getting his consistency, and he's going to gain 3 extra places for it. Flying Scotsman is very quick. Has he got enough time to hunt down Jinx ahead? He's 3 seconds behind, and he's potentially 3 to 4 seconds lap quicker. So we'd like to see him gain a position there. Kobe is doing a really good race right now. Just keeping it nice and clean. He is being hunted down by Wayne, who again is potentially a little bit quicker, but has been struggling of late with some pain and discomfort whilst he's driving. So I'm hoping he can stick out the night, because he does normally get a really good result out of nowhere. I say out of nowhere, but it's all down to consistency. What have we just seen a little bit there? Is that Larnaca? Yeah, Larnaca getting a little bit sideways coming through Shell Curve. And that's allowed Charlie Goff to close up, but just not enough again. He's just able to pull away. Larnaca is battling with that car. Keep it on track. We are now looking at 2.5 minutes left to go. Potentially, well, we're looking at the leader. Ambient Stub is coming up to the hill into Druids. obviously coming down the hill into turn. Oh no, it's up to Hilton to Druids. So we are expecting potentially one or two more laps to go here, with the timer ticking down. Sam is behind, chasing him down, but closing the gap. I just don't think he's got enough time to hold him. Stubbs keeping his wheel, Sam keeping the wheel on the line there. So if we come on to, this is lap 8. Yep, there's potentially going to be another lap after this one. These guys keep it up. Ambient Stubb is going to have to keep his foot on the pedal. Sam Thumbfinger in second. Valeside Racing is P2. Larnaca is holding off Charlie Goff in P4, but there is almost nothing between them. Maybe a car length or two. Into All Sorts, he's got that race in his own, as we know. A bit further back, Johnny Joyrider is being overtaken by Ice. Yeah, Ice is ahead of Johnny Joyrider now. And the Flying Scotsman is ahead of Jinx a bit further back. Wayne is all over the back of Kobe Zufka. Both cars looking a little bit worse for wear at this point in the race. Let's hope Wayne can have a look on the inside at this corner. No, just not enough speed at this point. Into the final minute now. Have the guys at front slowed down to make this the final lap, or will there be one more lap for the taking? If you're Charlie Goff or Sam Thumping, you want that extra lap. Or Wayne, there's a couple of battles out the field. If you're any one of those guys, you do want an extra lap if possible to try and push through down to the last 30 seconds. Coming into Druids over the hill, Ambient Stubb now has the couple of the back markers to use for a bit of encouragement as he breaks down for the final time potentially into the last corner. And we're looking at that time, 11 seconds, 10 seconds, 9 seconds. There will be another lap. He's flashing his lights, but there is another lap to go. Here he is, Ambient Stubb. Has Sam got enough on him? There he is, closing the gap down, 3 seconds to go. Valeside seems to be comfortable in third now. The guys behind battling have given him the breathing room. There's Larnaca and Charlie Goff, who's dropped off a little bit in the final lap. He's going to have to put up a monster lap to be able to get into P4, but he had a fantastic effort so far, just to hold P5. The gap now further down is Inter All Sorts, and that is Kingy. All that time that Inter All Sorts had has been thrown away. These Clios are tricky to keep on track, but there is Inter All Sorts, and he has got Kingy now a little bit behind. This is the final lap, so has Kingy got enough to keep pushing? Ice Dude is a little bit on his own, but we saw Inter All Sorts had that earlier, and now he's dropped behind. So let's see if Ice can keep a clean lap. There's Johnny Joyrider. He's under pressure from the Flying Scotsman. Can the Flying Scotsman take advantage here? Come up to the hill. Kobe Zufka, and that's a car going off track a little bit there on the inside. Yeah, Wayne is ahead of Kobe. It is the guys being lapped, just getting out of the way of the leader as Ambient Stubb comes up the hill. Wayne is compromised for this though. Kobe has gained an advantage there as Wayne went offline, and can Wayne get that position back? Jinx behind, is all the battles happening behind, but we're watching your race leader here coming through. All the cars behind are seemingly battling. The yellow car is Sam trying to fight through there. He has got the gap down to nearly 2 seconds, but it's just not going to be enough. He needed 2 more laps. He needed 5 more minutes. For the second time of asking though, here is Ambient Stubb across the line. This is definitely the end of the race for this time though. There's Sam Thumbfinger takes P2. Valeside, really good P3 for him. Larnaca disappointed for P4, but he got there in the end. Charlie Goff, who's dropped off time at the end there. He was a really good race, just unlucky I think to have that little bit of pace to get into P4. Inter All Sorts will finish in P6, providing keep it on the black stuff. And Kingy will be P7. A lot further back we have Ice Dude and Jinx and John Joyrider fighting it out here. So come into one of the corners. Where are we looking at now? They're coming round Shell Curve. These guys are still racing. The Flying Scotsman's there in P13. I wonder what happened to him. He's dropped all the way down the grid. But Johnny Joyrider is currently in P10, and it's Jinx up to P9. If he finishes here for P9, that would be a career best for Jinx. He's a really good race. He's kept his nose clean, and he's found a really good bit of pace there. He's found 2 seconds off his best lap. Can he keep Johnny Joyrider behind? But Johnny Joyrider is missing a few key components of his car, primarily the bonnet there, and a lot of window damage. So he's obviously had a side impact at some point. All the other cars have finished the race. It's just down to these two. Let's have a look and see what we have. Let's have a look on board with riding on board here with Jinx. The car's getting very sideways. Oh, that's going to cost him a lot of time there. Will we see Johnny Joyrider come on the inside? There's about half a second or so between the two drivers. No movement there. Is this place going to be Jinx's for the taking? I think it is. It is Jinx who takes P9. Great racing there, Jinx, keeping the nose clean and gets the end result. So
Hey,
that
Dave.
is Inter All Sorts, I believe. Inter All Sorts.
How you
Interesting
doing?
race for you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got interrupted by my wife halfway through needing the Prime membership, and I disappeared into a barrier while I was trying to sort out the Prime for
Yeah,
her.
the
You
racing
know,
driver and excuses, they get worse and worse every week. I'm honestly. Um,
I'm,
using a clear bit
I'm
of
delving
track.
deep.
And we saw the a move you did on Kingy coming into the shell curve. We saw a little bit of the back end of your car then kind of went towards in front
Yeah,
of Kingy. Was that a bit
I,
of a message you were
I,
sending across to him?
no, I just lost it going into that corner and just kind of almost decided I was going to try and take it backwards. Then decided it was a bad idea and tried to take it forwards again. Uh, but it wasn't deliberate, a driver error. Uh, I don't know how it looked on the stream, but it was scary when I did it. It
We were
scared me
yeah we
when
were
I
on
did
board
it.
with Kingy and your car appeared in front of the. It was quite nice to watch. Uh,
Yeah,
so we're
good,
running now
good.
with the Clios. We're going back to a car we raced last season. It's the only surviving car from season one. Such a great car that it is. What do you think your chances are?
I love the GT5, so if I'm somewhere near the front, I fancy my chances. I'm not going to lie to you.
We're
But
just checking with the
if I'm
guys.
somewhere near the back, who knows?
Well, yeah, we saw Wayne go a bit sideways on that one. What did you see? Because you just start at the back, didn't you?
Um, I did. There's one incident. Somebody reset themselves in the middle of the track right in front of me, and I had to just dive off the track. I wasn't so impressed with that. That was on the first lap. I think we do really need to sort out these resets where people stick their car back on the track in front of everyone else. But other than that, it was an eventful first lap. There was a lot of people going off in front of me because I started near the back. And the first two corners, there were people just going left, right, and centre. And then third corner, so it was eventful. But obviously, it gave me an opportunity to push up, so I took it.
I say yeah, it's one thing we're gonna have in those cars though. They do get very loose, no matter what you choose, because they are very tail happy for a front wheel drive car, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. You drive them on the back end. You have to steer the back end into a corner to get the fastest out of them. But they do put you off because they do want to swap ends. They do want to swap round on you. But they are best to just if you drive the back end, let the back end go in, and then just power through the corner. That's the best way of doing it with them. It'll get you it's the quickest way.
Nice to have a relatively full grid as well. There's no a couple of races last season where obviously people were getting busy between lockdown on, lockdown off, and having to go back to work. Obviously, with the current situation,
Oh,
people are
I
back
think
in.
I think it's. I mean, we've got people that have been loyal to us from the start, but we've got a lot of new people coming in as well, which is great to see. Like, it's so good to have a full lobby, good drivers, fast drivers, and just people that want to come and race with us because it just shows that we're doing something right. People are enjoying what we do, and it's great to see the lobbies filling up. Really is. Really enjoy that.
Let's have a look at a little bit of last season because in the cars that we had, you finished on the overall championship. You finished third overall, which is a monstrous effort. There's Kingy and Stubb ahead of you. You ended up winning the M1 Pro Car Trophy, a car that we run now on our Wednesday night series.
Yeah, I don't know how I won the M1 Pro car, but that car it's a great car. That one, it is a great car.
So we're just making sure that everyone's got the right independent liveries before these guys ready
I
to
think
launch.
I because I'm talking, I don't think I've sorted mine out. To be fair, I'm just looking now.
I think your time is up. It is what
No,
it is, though. I have to run with the liveries I've
okay,
got, and we'll sort it out for the
no
next
worries.
round. This was the one we didn't have in
Would
our
you like
practice.
Would you like me to duck out and leave you to it, Nath?
No, you're okay for now, as long as you're happy having a bit of a chat whilst you're driving around,
Well,
getting reacquainted
to
with
be
the car.
honest, I'm enjoying the company because the reason I jumped in is because for some reason the game's muted everybody else in the party in the game chat for me. So oh, so I was
We
a little
have
bit
our
lonely.
race
So
winner.
I thought I'd just come and speak to you for a little bit, so I didn't feel so lonely. And now there's Stubb as well. Nice, get the
So
bubbles going.
have you got the theme tune, Mr. Sir? We can play a
To be
second of
fair,
the theme tune. That's all you can get, guys. We can't have any more than that because YouTube will give us the big death. So we don't want to mute the entire race. So you
um, but it was pretty short for you then, Stubb. But hey, good work. I have to say, Stubb, I do feel we need to celebrate your victory more last season in terms of your achievements. So I don't think we've fully given you credit for what you did last season yet. Um, and as a group, I think, and as a community, I think we do owe you the recognition you deserve for the performance you put in last season. So I think we do need to get something up on the Discord for you just to say congratulations for kicking all our asses categorically last season.
he got it. He got pole
But
in race one.
well, no. That was actually genuine. That bit stuff. I'll save the wind up for later when we're not on the mic and the stream. But I do actually feel we need to give you a bit more recognition for your season one win and the achievements you did because it was a phenomenal season you ran. And it deserves some credit. It has to be said. It does deserve some credit.
Be very interested to see how you all fare against these in these cars again. The track we've driven, most of us driven on before, with a couple of new guys
Yeah.
though. How did the new guys do in that race? I mean, Larnaca had a great battle with Charlie Goff for pretty much the entire race, and Valeside, apart from one mistake, which he threw away P2, he ended up P4, I believe, or P5, P3, P3 Valeside. How are these new guys faring? Well, you caught them back up at the end. A couple of guys on the last lap, I think. Kobe, the young lad, he able to gain a place after they both let you through, and you ended up with a better run up the hill. Obviously, nothing to your fault, but it's really good driving for Kobe to take advantage and actually know that the big hill is coming. I mean, he's going to need that power coming up there. Before we let you off for the end of the race, which end of the race are you referring to there, Stub? Is that the one that you thought it was the end of the race with 10 seconds left to go, or the actual end of the race? For the yeah, you had the time in hand to let everyone off, but no, you gave the guys behind an opportunity. We got some really good racing. In fact, Jinx took P9 on the last lap and held it, so really great racing for Jinx. With the 5 minutes left to go of this practice, predictions for top three. Who are your top names for the top three in this second race? There we go. Lord Stubb, he's a race champion in a number of formats, but not so great at his maths. Stick there to a number 3 and we get 4. But we always expect to get more from you, Stubb, so thank you for joining us. Over to you, Inter. What do you reckon, top 3?
I think Stubbs named 4 there that are definitely in contention. I think we need to put Kingy and Valeside in that mix, because I think both of those have potential to really push towards the front. But you know, it all depends, because it's random grid. It's very difficult to call. You know, if some of the faster drivers are at the back, it's a long way to the front. It's a long way to the front. So you just don't know, and that's the excitement with these Friday night club sprints. Random grids, you just don't know where you're going to be and how it's going to make them unfold. That's all part of the fun.
Let's see what we get. So hopefully some of the new guys, the more inexperienced guys, will be able to get to the front and get experience with the battling, but also keep it clean. That is the key. It's obviously difficult to be a little bit slower and still be ahead. There's a lot of pressure on you, even though it's only a game. It's only pretend racing driver, but
you know, in the same respect, it gives people that, you know, haven't had the chance to lead or have that kind of pressure, you know, you get to experience that pressure and learn from it.
Let's have a look at the cars out on track. Who is racing? What colour to look out for? The current fastest lap setter is Johnny Joyrider there. He's in the AQI, the black, orange and white car. Valeside's in all white there. I believe that is either 21 or 22. There we are, number 22 car. Here's Valeside, Sam Thumfinger in his 58 pay livery. He's raced that before in the previous series. Larnaca there, all in red, number 2. Wayne is out on track. He's around somewhere. There he is. He's in the 32 Owl Security, or Owl livery. We've been on board with Inter All Sorts. He's there in 31. We've got Ice Dude who's picked a 31 as well. Obviously an issue there with changing liveries in game, but we'll know the difference between the two when we point them out. There's Jinx in the number 38, the white with red stripes. 2 Macheda cars there. That's Kobe on one of them, having a bit of a wiggle. Kobe's there flashing his lights. Not sure who that is behind in the number 20, but there's a bit of friendship happening there, and Kobe has gone for an absolute flying sensation, and half the cars now being removed. Let's hope he doesn't have that in the race. It wasn't Jinxie, Kingy, no. Kingy's in the number 19 car there. That is his livery for the season. He's put a dibs on the number 19 liveries. Potentially the Flying Scotsman behind him there. He's had a bit of a break from racing, and he is back with us. And I know he really enjoys these cars. A name not mentioned by the other two guys, but he has raced these cars before and he can be quick. Just not setting these laps in practice. Maybe it needs a bit more. That's Ambient Stub there in another one of the 32 cars. A couple of 32 cars have to fight through, but again, we're having a couple of issues with the PC2 servers tonight. Not much we can do with it, but we are having to live with it. And we'll try and give you good racing nonetheless. There's Inter All Sorts has jumped in with 1 minute to go and put the cheeky fastest lap on the board with a 49.5. Larnaca's up there, P2, Sam, Johnny Joyrider. and Valeside, but look at the difference in the times between the top 6. Not much at all. See, these guys get a bit more clear traffic, and then the group of cars behind potentially not getting good laps in. Expect these guys to shoot up the order, and a number of drivers to keep together during the race. A couple of guys missing from this season. We'll hope to see them back after the new year. Lord of Lincoln, an old enemy of mine, always seem to find him out on track. He's not with us for this season. He's got a lot of stuff to deal with, but hopefully we'll get to see him back next year. A couple of other guys are missing. A couple of guest spots as well. We're hoping to get to filled at some point. Obviously missing Harry, who's not with us at the moment. Harry joined in a couple sporadically season 1, but when he did, he was quick, setting a couple of wins and fastest laps in process. See Charlie Goff leaving the pits. There's only a few seconds left now. Practice is all but done. He won't be able to complete this lap, but he will get the feeling of being out on track. There's 2 minutes to go until the race. Now we've saw a very interesting starting lineup for the Renault Clios. So that's GT5s have a little bit more power, a little bit more stable. So we'll see what these guys can bring us. Sam, refusing to be outdone, has gone out and set himself the fastest time. Who else we got still on track? Ambient Stubbs going around at the full steam. He's got a little bit of a tow there coming down the hill as well, so we can get closer again. He'll use the tow coming up the hill. It's all well and good setting these times here in practice, but they mean absolutely nothing when it comes to the track, because you could be starting in 13th. Stubb there, he's 8/10ths up on this lap. If he carries on at that pace, should drop him in 3rd. Let's see what we can get coming into the final corners. Very late on the brakes, down, shifting nicely. Getting a nice tow coming up to the hill. Has he gained enough time to put his moniker on the board in practice? He does. He's there. He's not to be outdone. Has Sam got enough in his final time around? Yes, he does, and he's into the 48s. We've got Larnaca coming around. His time is done. Johnny Joyrider coming up to the hill. Is he going to improve on any of these times? Another car behind him. Johnny, no, 6th? Yeah, stays in 6th. Wayne is in 7th. His practice is done. Kingies is done. Flying Scotsman is done. Who are we waiting for? We're not. We're all done now. Let's get a quick shot of these. So just waiting for the guys to move the lobby along when they're ready. Here we go. And what does the grid bring us? Ooh, very interesting split. There is your grid. The Flying Scotsman, he takes the provisional pole. Ambient Stubb, very lucky man race 1, is also a very lucky man in race 2. He's there at P2. Sam Thumbfinger, he's in P3. Ice Dude's P4. Inter All Sorts getting a better run of it. He's now in P5. He should be looking to keep with the front guys on the 3rd row. He's alongside Valeside, who's again going to be a very quick driver. Johnny Joyrider on the 4th row with Kobe Zufka. Kingies on the 5th row alongside Wayne. Charlie Goff and Larnaca behind them, and Jinx at the back of the grid. We're looking for these guys at the back of the grid to keep their noses clean as best they can and see if they can get round into better points. The only position that doesn't get points here is P16, and considering we only have 13 drivers on the grid, they provided they all finish, they will all get points. Just drop the map up for you so you can kind of see where cars are going around, see how they're grouped. Waiting to see, just get the cast, everything settled. And we're on. The lights are on. We're going to 3 reds and we're about to go green. And we're away, and it's Flying Scotsman with a little bit of a tardy start. One of the red cars further back, I think that's Larnaca, had a fantastic start. But it will be the Flying Scotsman taking the wide line into turn 1 under pressure from, I think that is Ambient Stub. It is. And Ambient Stub now is taking the lead. Sam goes a little bit over the curb, taking the wide line into turn 2. There isn't much room to play there. Let's see if he can keep it on track on the exit. He can. Flying Scotsman is in P3 and losing space pretty quickly. Let's see if he can keep these battles behind his car on the inside. That is Valeside Racing. Just able to keep it on track. 5 cars almost going 5 wide as we come into the shell curve. And that's Inter All Sorts there having a nose up and inside. Gives Vale a bit of a friendship tap there. It is Inter All Sorts, bit of friendship to keep him going. A little bit further back, it's still running close. Ambient Stub is out front. There's Sam Thumbfinger very close behind Inter, behind him. Ice Dude is kind of held position there. He's firing up, and Flying Scotsman's dropped down the order. He's just needs to find his rhythm. There's Johnny Gyroider behind him. Larnaca, the red car, into P8. Really good start for him. There's Kobe Zufka. He's held well. Jinx is in at 10. He's going. Charlie Goff on the inside. There's to go 3 wide here. That's not going to last very long if they come it to Druids. There's a bit of rubbing there as Kingy has lost out. He's all the way down in P13. Wayne is in P12. And there's Kobe Zufka there. He's had a bit of a spin on the exit. Put down too much power. And that will see him to the back of the grid. Let's hope he can keep his commitment in. And hopefully he'll be able to pick up some places as other cars may have moments off. So the front 4 guys starting to pull away in the front 3 definitely, and there's a bit of a gap then to Valeside, who's under pressure from ice. There we go, the 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 on the same straight, and then you see the green car behind. That is the Flying Scotsman under pressure from Larnaca, who will have a look on the outside coming into turn 1. I think he might be just setting up a move here. He's getting the run off the final corner. He wants this inside line now for the left-hander, and he's through. Really good overtake there for Larnaca, keeping the car really level. A big battle out front though is closing up these 3 drivers who in the yellow cars have all raced together an awful lot in these cars. The field starts to spread out, but Ambient Stub is not able to break away from Sam, and Sam is now coming increasingly under pressure from his old teammates. We didn't have teams in this race series last season. They have now been abolished, every man for himself. So there is no love lost between these 2 drivers. Valeside is keeping them honest. He's there to make sure he mops up the podium position if any of them make a mistake. Ice Dude coming over the hill. He's been chased down by Larnaca. Look how much time Larnaca's gained after overtaking the Flying Scotsman a few corners ago. He's going to become under pressure from Charlie Goff very shortly. And Kingy, who's had an awful first lap, is finding himself in P9 under a lot of pressure from Wayne there. Let's hope Wayne can stick with these guys as they make their way back through the order. Johnny Joyrider's dropped down to P11, having a bit of a lonely race. It's 24 seconds back. Jinx there in 12th, and Kobe, who's 33 seconds. Really hope these guys can stick it out though. Bit further through down the field, the battle out onto P1 is closed up, and there is Inter All Sorts of really good run off the final corner. He's going to run it wide. Has he got a position in P2? He has, and that's the fastest lap of the race so far from Inter All Sorts there. No wonder why he's overtaken his old teammate. But now he's going to be feeding Sam Thumbfinger behind. He's going to give him a great tow coming into the shell curve. You should see Sam close up. These 2 guys battling, though, as they very well know, is going to let Ambient Stub ahead drive away. And still credit to Valeside. He is there in P4 holding up. Further back, there's been a spinner. It's Ice. Ice has dropped further back, and so car off track there. It's White Guy Mochi. Is that Jinx? He's keeping well offline. Whoever it is, either way. Flying Scotsman finds himself in P5, and there's Pikingi in P6, and Wayne right behind him once more in P7. Larnaca's dropped back as well. It was Larnaca who was one of the spinners. He's now behind Charlie Goff. It was Charlie Goff who was off track there, getting very, very wide on the entry to shell curve. He's now under lots of pressure from Larnaca. something we saw in the Renault Clio race in race 1, but in reverse. So we'll see if Charlie Goff has what it takes to keep Larnaca behind. Get a bit closer, further forwards in the grid. Here is Kingy closer down the Flying Scotsman, and Wayne is all over the back. Kingy taking a shallow line into the corner there, and Nicker coming up the hill into Druids. Wayne taking a deeper line, but is able to carry a lot more speed up the hill. Look how much time he's gained there. He's right behind the back of these two cars. Will that be a fight for position? Out front, these two guys, Sam and Inter, are battling once more. Sam's pulling the same move that Inter pulled on him a lap ago. And it is business as usual with these two guys. But Ambient Stub out front. Ambient Stub is pulling away as these two guys fight, to the tune of 2 seconds roughly, as we see Sam run very wide there. As mentioned, the track limits, he won't get away with doing that too often. A couple of times here or there is fine, but he will be slapped with a penalty if he keeps gaining an advantage there. The outside is keeping his gap honest to the leader, which means he's closing, and as these two guys battle, there's battles all over the field. You can see there is Wayne once again all over the back of Kingy. Kingy, who I believe finished P2 overall in the first season. No, in a GT5, yeah, GT5 Cup, he was P2, is the runner-up behind Ambient Stub and Enter All Sorts. Ambient Stub and Enter All Sorts are there at the top of the grid, and Kingy is really struggling around this track in this car at the moment. But he has got a lot of work to do to get past Flying Scotsman, who is getting much more consistent around this track now. At the back of the grid, here's Jinx closing down on Kobe. Ice is recovering and driving Johnny Joyrider, who's surprisingly not doing so well at the moment. We expect a bit more pace from him. I wonder if the conditions are just not suiting him at the moment. But we'll have to see how it all goes. 7 minutes to go. Probably expecting the same sort of number of laps as we experienced before, as that is Sam gets very wide on the throttle, and Enter All Sorts gets very wide on the exit of the corner. Sam has to dive into turn 1, something we saw before. But Enter All Sorts is going to have another 7 more minutes of this, and here is Vale's side. He wants a bit of this too. Let's jump on board. Let's see what Vale's seeing right now. There is your race leader further down the grid. He's about to put the kink on the left-hander going into shell curve. On the left, you've got Enter All Sorts at the back, black part of the car at the back, and the yellow back car is Sam Thumbfinger. Very interesting line there from Sam. Getting into the corner nice and early. This is going to make him vulnerable on the exit. Let's go around, very wide line. Vale breaks nice and early, lets these two guys go ahead. Again, a little bit of a wide line there, and that is a car going round. Sam is round. Vale is up into P3. How much damage is done for Sam? He's recovering. Let's see how far Kingy is behind though. And it's Wayne now actually we're on board. Wayne is past Kingy. Kingy's in P6 and it's Flying Scotsman in P7. It's complete rotation of order there. So a lot has happened during that last few corners there. Your race leader Ambient Stub is still out in front. No, he's got a second and a half over Enter All Sorts in P2. So Stubbs coming around the final corner. Is this going to be another season of GT5 domination, or have we got someone in the grid who can battle him? Stubb is a bit of a master of the UK tracks though. This race series we've got in the Club Sprint series is going all the way around the world, and there are some tracks that maybe not be suited to the Stubb, and maybe hopefully suited to some more of the drivers. This is round 1 at Oulton Park International. Next week we are at Catalunya National. Very interesting circuit, not many overtaking places, but a lot of places to make mistakes. And then round 3 sees us at Laguna Seca, Nürburgring Sprint for round 4, Brands Hatch GP for round 5, and then the final round of the season is at Bathurst. Bathurst, a very, very good track. Meanwhile, at the racing at hand, the close battle on the track. Here's Valeside. He's closing in on Into All Sorts. That gap has remained the same since Sam dropped out of the picture. He's in P4. I'm hoping he's not picking up too much damage. He's got 5 seconds to Wayne as we jump on board with Wayne, who touched a little bit of the grass there and is round. Absolute shame for Wayne. He's a fantastic race holding P5, keeping 2 very quick guys behind. That's Kingy and Flying Scotsman. It is Kingy, the car in front at the moment. The slightly yellowy green is Kingy, and the darker green there is the Flying Scotsman. Larnaca is on the recovery drive. He's in P8. He's ahead of Charlie Goff, so that answered that question. Charlie Goff was not able to keep Larnaca behind. Johnny Joyrider is having a good recovery race as well. He's going to be putting Charlie Goff under pressure very, very shortly. P11 we have Ice Dude, and at P12 is Jinx. He's been able to get ahead of Kobe. Kobe is in the pits for some damage repair, a lot of damage repairs, a lot of his car missing there. But this is all good experience for Kobe. He'll needs to get used to this sprint race setting that we've run. Out front, Into All Sorts has had a blistering lap, or Ambient Stub has had a bad one. Now, Ambient Stub is looking at a 49.2. I would say it's the former rather than the latter. Let's have a look at these fastest laps so far. Potentially a bad one, a 47.9. Ambient's fastest. So something's gone wrong in his lap. He's dropped about 1.5 seconds off his optimum pace. And Into All Sorts is directly behind. And Vale Side Racing, is he settled in for this this position here in P3? Looking down the order, though, we have got Sam down in P10. The guy who was racing for P2 and almost potentially for P1 is now finding himself in P10, closing down Charlie Goff. That's promoted Kingy up to P4, and the Flying Scotsman is sniffing a chance here. He's having a look at the inside. Late on the brakes, can he hold it on the exit? He keeps it on track. Kingy's going to take the shallow line here to come up the hill at Knickerbrook. Is that Mikey finding his feet, finding the rhythm that he desperately needs to be pushing these guys further ahead? And we know he's not been feeling comfortable on his return back into the car. Yeah, speaking to, he's made a couple of rookie errors. He caused some basic mistakes, but he definitely seems back on it now. Something has clicked back into place, and he is hunting down the guys ahead. The rest of the track, with 2 minutes remaining, is starting to get a little bit more spread out. Whatever allowed Inter to catch up Stubb ahead. He's dropped 7 tenths on this lap, so Stubb is back at it, and Inter is now dropped to a second back, so a little bit more breathing room. Not enough, but still there. Valeside is, again, he's been within that 2 second mark the entire race. Really consistent driving from Valeside. He's definitely going to be a thorn in the Stubb side. Flying Scotsman is now in reverse under a lot of pressure from Kingy. Flying Scotsman, will he look to defend? Not around here. Very tricky coming into Shell Curve. Let's have a quick look at what Kingy's seeing. Very contrasting line here. Flying Scotsman's defending, takes a big hop over the curb. Will the Flying Scotsman look to defend? The defensive line is on the right here, but it does compromise on the exit. It's Kingy braking a lot later. Can he get the car turned? And he can. Has he got enough power to come up the hill using the toe? These cars very reliant on the toe head, which is why the guys out front have pulled away like they have, able to use each other. Once you lose that toe, it's very easy to go get left behind. Contrasting lines there. That's the Flying Scotsman went very shallow into Druids, and that's going to give Kingy a massive run down to the final corner. Will he have a look? going to be all over the back of his mirrors, but he's not able to get through. Can he use a good exit coming up into turn 1? Having a look around the outside. Not this time around. This is your race leader, Ambient Stub. I think this is our last lap now, as he comes round the shell curve for the final time. Lap 9, the time is up. There's Inter All Sorts in P2, Valeside. The closest battles on top. Kingy is fighting with Ambient Stub. Sorry, Kingy's fighting with the Flying Scotsman for P4. Wayne and Larnaca are in the battle for 6 and 7, and the rest of the field is starting to get a bit more spread out. So it's a Knickerbrook for the final time. There is the 32 car of Ambient Stub. He's got 2 seconds on Inter All Sorts. He'll say it's an easy race. It's not an easy race. There's a car around there actually. It's a green car. Just saw in the background. I wonder if that's Kobe got himself stuck around. To tell, we'll see there. We'll check with you in a moment. There are 3 cars who are on a different lap. That is Ice, Jinx and Kobe, so we'll see how this all fares coming round. Ambient Stub comes across the line. His second victory of the night. In the GT5s. Inter All Sorts, it was in P2, that gets his first podium of the night. Valeside Racing, really good racing for him, just lost a little bit of pace at the end, but fantastic nonetheless. This is the final battle really on track, unless there's many mistakes. Flying Scotsman defends for his P4. Kingy, is he going to get a run off the final corner? I don't think he's just going to get enough. It's going to be close. And it is the Flying Scotsman who takes P4. Nothing in it. Kingy takes P5. Larnaca, good recovery drive from him in P6. Wayne, unfortunate, racing in P5. Put a wheel on the grass and just spun his car around so quickly. He had no chance of catching it, but takes a P7 nonetheless. Johnny Joyrider, a very quiet one for him, but he takes P8. Charlie Goff dropped down into P9. Sam Thumbfinger, he'll be disappointed. He could have won this race. A couple of errors though means he drops down, and it looks like he's carrying a lot of damage. That light is out, so potentially a lot of suspension damage on his car there. Ice Dude not having the best of races. He doesn't really enjoy these cars, but he's still racing with us nonetheless, so full credit to him. In fact, he's lost a place to Jinx there, and full credit once again to Jinx. Just keeping his laps in, keeping that consistency, and he's found himself another position. A P9 in his first race, a P11 in his second race, for a guy who probably doesn't have the pace at the moment, but certainly he's developed on the key characteristics first, consistency. And he's there for the P11, and if he keeps sticking with it, I'm very sure that pace will come very, very soon. In terms of pace, how are we looking? What were the fastest lap sort of times? Jinx was in the 156 there, not too bad. 154s for the other guys in the midfield. I can just hear the Stub has unleashed for a very quick chat. Stub, another race win. Well, yeah, we saw the time jump ahead, got about 2 seconds up, and then there was a moment where Inter behind pulled an amazing lap, and all of a sudden that gap was down to half a second. Bear me a second. Apologies, I had a lovely cup of tea whilst I was enjoying that race. I was enjoying it so much, and now the tea has decided to try and kill me. But yeah, very interesting race. A lot of shenanigans going on. A bit of friendship happened as well. A little bit of rubbing. Some quiet races, but Wayne had a fantastic race. You wouldn't have seen further back. He was battling with Kingy and the Flying Scotsman for a good series of laps, and just put a wheel on the grass and it just went far too quick for him to catch it. Yeah, we managed to catch most of it, thankfully. Vale side is one for me. Um, the silent assassin, we'll call him, because he's just there. And he was there for, at a 2 second mark, apart from the last lap or so, he started to drop off because it was comfortable and he wasn't really going anywhere. But he was keeping up with you guys and staying within that battle all the way through. Oh, we've just seen a new driver join us as well. Yep, yep. So further down the list, so we're now up to 14 drivers on the grid, just out at the bottom of the screen. So we'll see how we know nothing of this guy, so we'll see how he fares in this race. This is now going to be the vintage. I'm expecting you to enjoy this one a little bit, and I'm expecting Sam to shine as us as well. I know he really enjoys this car, especially around the Nordschleife. I know there's an issue with people being able to change liveries at the moment. Something we'll have to try and get sorted out for the next time we have a stream. But we're going to have teething problems. A lot of new guys probably not understanding how we race. We try and turn and make the racing as real as possible whilst having good racing. So we want people to enjoy themselves, but not take the Michael, if you will. If you have a bad result, you would know it was the yellow car that did it. Well, that's who have we got? So we've got, yep, he's in a red 23. Kobe's running in the red 22. Enter all sorts. He's there in the green 51. Vale side, waiting to see him leave the pits there. Larnaca is running in the blue 14. Fantastic graphics, these guys. You can see the drivers running around and the hand controls. Really good to see. Wayne, he's there in the number 6 or 5. Hard to tell from here. Johnny Joyrider. There's the Flying Scotsman's in the pits. Jinxie. Himself. Ice has got a 31. Charlie off 17. And Sam in the number 8. You should see Sam in a series of 8s. Apart from tour cars, there's a car going sideways in the back way there, and a light blue car. Go for the practice. Well, I was just telling people who were listening in the track list in the previous race, and obviously this is round 1 at Oulton Park, but we've got a couple of absolutely belting tracks for these cars to go around. I mean, next week we're at Silverstone, and Silverstone National, it's the wrong one, we're at the Catalunya National. So that's going to bring out another interesting challenge for these cars. Having a look at the rest of the calendar. Laguna Seca, again, this is going to be an interesting to bring these around Laguna Seca, bring these cars around the corkscrew. I think it's going to be an experience. And then the final race at Bathurst, throw these around up the mountain. Surely that's going to be a race you're looking forward to. Laguna Seca, Catalunya, and obviously a Nürburgring as well. Yeah, Laguna Seca is the one I'm looking forward to the most. Just gonna have a jump into the actual lobby and kind of listen into what the guys sort of chat about. So let's jump across. Hello everybody, hello everybody, can you hear me? We are live on stream. Can you hear me, guys? Apologies, I was watching you on board there, Larnica. You're top of the board on this lap at the minute. How are you finding this car? A lovely bit of friendship there. Thank you, Ice dude. You got 5 minutes left of the practice. The car, are we enjoying it? Is it a bit floaty? Is it good to drive? What do we think? Not getting much better for these guys. I don't think they can hear me, but they're having a fun time nonetheless. Which has just been caught live on stream. Thank you, Winter All Sorts, but you can't hear me nonetheless, so it's all good. So yeah, this is the type of stuff these guys chat about. It's an open mic here on our club night, so these guys can chat entirely during the race. They are free to chat, as long as they're not putting each other off. If anyone's playing the stream live, their end, they'll be able to hear it as well. So I've left Stubb in his own little room though whilst he's practicing, so. So we'll hopefully get a few more. Absolute chaos and mayhem here happening in this lobby. There's almost someone trying to take another person out there. Let's watching board with Wayne. Newcomer Yip. I'll jump back to our own little secret there. Just a glimpse of the chaos that is happening behind the scenes with all the guys getting used to these cars around this track. A lovely moment there from Inter All Sorts, advising the drivers we're going to reload live on stream, please do not swear, and then giving a list of swear words not to be used whilst on a live stream. Apologise for anyone who was offended by any of those words, I don't think you are. This is a game with some rather less sensible adults, but funny nonetheless. Yeah, we heard a little bit of Larnica, a little bit of Ice Dude was in there, Sam a tiny bit as well. Not much from Kingy, he's having a bit of a quiet night. I'm not sure, he's had a couple of contacts that's put him off a little bit. But it was nice to hear the guys chatting actually. They are really enjoying this car. You can't hear it obviously being in this little bubble at the minute, Stubb, but they are really enjoying this car. What about the support for the drivers that maybe they have a good race, and how's that with everyone in the group? Yeah, well, if somebody has a good race, what's it like? Are people, or is it? Because I know some groups can be a bit cliquey, and very much you're quicker than me, and I don't like that. And I know a few leagues are a bit hush hush about sharing things like setups, and I know firsthand that it's not really a case of sharing setups, because you can share setups of the days, but you don't, if you don't understand how the car got to that position, you don't really know. So we actually, rather than sharing setups, you're welcome to them, but we'll try and get you along that journey to understand why the car is feeling a certain way, and that will improve your driving to no end. I mean, Wayne over the last few weeks has just come on tenfold. Well, it makes your life a little bit harder, which is kind of what we want, as we just see Sam pumping a 153.4 there, 153.4 in the car from the 60s or 70s, even earlier than that, 1957, around Oulton Park. These cars, Oulton Park would have been around roughly about then. At some point, these cars would have raced around here. Maybe not this layout, but here nonetheless. As you get bundled on by those security guards. Practice is now done. Practice is now done. I've just seen we've lost Charlie Goff on this one. I'm not sure if he's had a connection issue and ditched out, or he's got something else happening. 3 guys not setting a time, and yet a new driver not really setting much of a time, but we'll see how he fares. We do welcome everybody, as long as you're clean and honest. Just waiting for the lobby lead to launch us into the race setup, and we'll see the random grid. So what has this brought us this time? And it's the newcomer Yip who takes the pole position. We need to make sure he doesn't cause too much of an issue at the start. Is an unknown, and occasionally unknown drivers can cause a bit of mayhem. We've all been there once in a new group. A little bit of nerves into all sorts. He's got to be one of the unluckiest and then luckiest guys. He finds himself P2 after a P13 and a P5. Larnaca in P3, he's very quick in these cars. We'll see who goes from there. Kingy in P4 and Wayne's in P5. Alongside Samsung, we got on the 3rd row. 4th row, we've got Jinx and Ice Dude. Jinx again looking just to keep his nose clean. That's how he's going to get his points now. Kobe and Johnny Joyrider take the 5th row. Flying Scotsman and Ambient Stub at the back of the grid, and Valeside at the very, very back. So some of the fastest drivers on these cars towards the back and in the middle. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Let's bring up the map so you can see top right. We can have a look at what's going on. We'll have a focus on Kingy, who's in P4. Expect these guys to get off the line very, very, very quickly. And then the cars get very sideways into turn 1 and turn 2. It's Vale in the light blue car at the back, Ambient Stub in the yellow 46, Flying Scotsman 44. Who have we got further back? It's Johnny Joyrider in 51, Kobe in 22, Ice in 31, there's Jinx 45, Sam number 8, Wayne in the number 5, Kingy in his number 19, Larnaca is in 14, and number 51 for Inter all sorts again, a couple of doubles up there, and Yip is in the 23. Let's go to track side because the guys are nearly ready to race. Just getting re-synced up with these guys. 1, 2, 3 sets of lights. And we are going to be away, and it's a really good start for the car on P2, and Yip does not get off the line. He drops positions very quickly, going 5 wide into turn 1. That's not going to end very well. There's Wayne there, the 3 green cars. That is Kingy, Sam and Wayne who's watched the cars a bit further back in a bit of trouble, but Inter is having a blessed start on the second P2 on the inside line there. He's gone. So there is 3 cars fighting, but these guys got a bit of a gap behind. That's Jinx, he's made his way up into P5. A great start for him. He's been followed by Ice and Larnaca. The Flying Scotsman's a bit further behind. Jib is the biggest loser on the first lap, as the Johnny Joyrider, who's got a bit of a paint traded there. We've just lost the driver, not sure who that was. Potentially Kobe, as Charlie Goff has rejoined, but he's missed the start of this race, so he won't be able to continue. Yeah, I think that is Kobe, who's potentially caused a bit of an issue and has now left the lobby. Yip is still there, he's still running. Johnny Joyrider, right, Scotsman further down the order. Yeah, so on to lap 1. Inter and Sam have pulled a bit of a gap now, and Wayne is ahead of Kingy. I'm not sure if Kingy's had a bit of a moment, but he's all over the back of Wayne, so I wonder if Wayne's made the move. And now Kingy has returned the favour coming up the hill. These old cars very tricky to slow down and get round the corners. Can they keep it on track? These 2 guys certainly can. There is Inter all sorts. He's coming round the final corners to complete the first lap in these vintage cars. Potentially going to be looking at 8 laps here in these cars. We've had our Renault Clios, we've had our Ginetta GT5s, and now we're having our vintage race. And it's Inter all sorts who leads Sam's Thumbfinger. Kingy is in P2, but he's got Wayne for company all over the back of him. These 2 guys have been fighting tooth and nail all night. Larnaca now finds himself in P5, and from the back of the grid there is Valeside. He is in P6. Ice Dude is in P7. The Flying Scotsman is in P8. It got a little bit off track there actually. And then there's Johnny Joyrider and Jinx behind. Ambient Stub is in the pits for damage repair. I think Stubb, the guy who was talking to previously, I think he is the one who was a victim of Kobe when Kobe left the lobby. When had a bit of a moment, he's going to be in there for a fair while. And there's Yip round again. Further out front, Sam's got an opportunity on Inter all sorts now. Inter defends, Inter line. Inter all sorts and myself had a really interesting race here in our vintage touring car B GTB season. I'd like to think that I gave Inter all sorts a defending masterclass round here. I was able to hold P3. Clearly just an off day for Inter all sorts, and let's see if Sam can find the gap to force his way through. I am taking that one occasion of keeping Inter behind with a pinch of salt. He was on track 2 seconds a lap faster. Just caught him with a little bit of damage on his car, and he wasn't able to get the speed up. But he's able to keep the speed up here and keep Sam behind, if though Sam was half a tenth quicker on that last lap. Further behind, we've seen Wayne drop down in the order. He's now hunting Larnaca down. Kingy's in P3, Valeside in P4, Wayne in P5. Is Wayne coming into the pits? No, it is Larnaca who's into the pits, actually. So Wayne gets further back up the order in P5. The Flying Scotsman is in P6 and he's gone round again on turn 1, just struggling to get the car slowed down. He's going to be picking up a fair amount of damage now. That's going to make his life a lot harder going around this track. But it does mean Ice Dude and Johnny Joyrider, as Ice Dude runs wide, they're able to hold it. Great car control there from Ice Dude. He loses the place, but he doesn't lose the damage. Johnny Joyrider is up to 7, and that's Ice back into 8th. Jinx is behind all this drama, just keeping his nose clean. He's finding himself in P9 again. This is exactly what he needs to do. He doesn't need to keep pushing the lap time much more, he just needs to keep it clean. Ambient Stop is catching, though. He's going to want to got 9 minutes or just under 10 minutes to get as far up the order as he can. Larnaca in the pits recovering, and there's Yip getting in the way of the leaders. That's not what we like to see here. Sam Thumbfinger is out in front, so I wonder if Yip played a part there in that making. I'm sure Inter will be picked up a small amount of damage for that. Let's see, with 9 minutes left to go, still over halfway in this race. Closest battles on track are the battle for P1 and this battle here for P6. Flying Scotsman, who's carrying a lot of damage, struggling to get the power down there, has caught back up onto the back of Johnny Joyrider, and there's Ice Dude in the background, who had a massive moment coming into Shell Curve, but was able to hold it. When it comes to the final corner, Ice does run wide. But it is is Johnny Joyrider ahead of the Flying Scotsman as they come on to lap 4. Looking down the orders, there's Yip a lap down and Larnaca is a lap down. Not sure why Larnaca picked up a fair amount of damage, but he'll be looking to try and slice his way through the order, and he's got his first marker here is Yip, and he's through as Yip hits the grass and runs into the wall. He's going to pick up a lot of damage, he'll need to repair that. Flying Scotsman at this moment looks on the inside, coming to Shell Curve. And it looks like he's got it through. It is, Flying Scotsman is up into P6, and there's Yip recovering, hopefully he gets out of the way. He doesn't cause an issue to the drivers behind. Out front with 7.5 minutes to go. Sam Thumbfinger, he is leading his previous teammate, getting very tail happy in this classic car. Let's have a look on board with these cars. Absolutely fantastic graphically on the inside as well. So on board here with Inter all sorts. Getting the car very wide and turn 1, staying away from there's a little bit of a bump on the inside. You don't want to be hitting that. That will launch the car further wide. Here's different contrasting styles. Both cars able to get through nicely. These cars are very, very soft. No aero in these cars. The classic was all mechanical grips, so they're relying on throwing the weight around to be able to get the cars gripped in. Here's Ambient Stub having a look at the inside of Jinx. He's 10 seconds now behind Ice in P8. Has he got enough time to get down? He's got 6 minutes. Bit of a recovery drive after having to pit for a lot of damage. Larnaca is also another one of these cars who is recovering. He is 2 minutes down off the lead though. So let's have a look further up the field. Here is Kingy and Valeside. That is Valeside has taken the final podium spot off of Kingy. Kingy was 3 seconds slower on the last lap. I wonder if he's struggling for grip or tyre life here. We've run an accelerated tyre wear just to make these tyre factors. It's a little bit interesting. Some of the times if you overheat the tyres, they will wear very quickly. If you look after them, it will reward consistent racing. Very spread out field in these cars. Obviously very a little bit more difficult to drive because they don't have all these mud cons as Kingy. Again, runs a little bit wide at Druid, but holds it, and he's round. And it's just made a small contact with the wall. How much damage will that be? And is Wayne close enough to take advantage? He's just coming through Druids now. I think Kingy is back up and running. If we see a bit further down the grid, there he is. Kingy's returning to the track now. Has Wayne got enough overspeed coming into the final corner? Kingy keeps himself way offline, allows Wayne through. A really good gentlemanly driving there from Kingy. He's made a mistake of recovering, but he makes sure that he doesn't impact another driver's race. Will we see him come into the pits? No, he's going to race with that little bit of damage. 4 minutes left to go. Should be potentially 3 laps now. Maybe 2 laps left in these cars. These drivers only have to worry about tyres in these races. They don't have to worry about fuel. Everything is sorted for them once they choose their matter of stable or loose setup, and it looks like Inter's running a very loose setup there. Car getting very sideways under braking. Sam is round actually, so not entirely sure what happened there, but Inter went sideways into the corner and Sam went sideways on the exit. What it does mean is that Inter all sorts has regained the lead of this race, and Sam is getting very wide on the exit of Druids. As car 45 there, that is the Flying Scotsman, gets clean out of the way. These two guys are fronters in a league of their own. If we look down the grid, Vale side is in P3 with Wayne in P4. We've lost a fair few drivers actually, we've potentially retiring with damage. We've only got 10 guys running with 3 minutes left to go. Johnny Joyrider finds himself in P5. Ambien is been promoted up to P6 on his recovery drive. He's keeping with pace on the leaders. He's keeping that 1 minute 2 gap. Flying Scotsman, he's in P7. His old teammate Ice Dude is in P8. These two guys really like to push each other for the fastest laps, so we'll see how these two are the race. Jinx holding in P9. He's just keeping his pace. He's had a very slow lap on the last one, so must have had a bit of an end around, but he's still there. He's got 10 seconds to hold off Larnaca. With 2 minutes to go, is he got enough in the tank just to keep the car nice and clean on track? Into all sorts now, after getting sideways and getting back in front of Sam, has been able to pull almost a 4-second gap. As we say, he gets very sideways. Can he get it back on track on time? Oh, Sam's gone around the same point as well. Sam recovers and goes round again. So tyres must be becoming a bit of an issue now on these old track tyres. All the cars themselves becoming a bit more of a handful. Vale is got a 15 seconds to the leader and 15 seconds to the car behind, so he should take the second P3 of the evening. Wayne having a fantastic race in P4. Had a bit of a battle, potentially a bit of a mistake early on, but has just kept himself through, and he's even lapping in the 157s right now. That is third, fourth fastest man on track, so he's definitely earning that place in P4. Johnny Joyrider's having a quiet race. He's in P5 as he's got 2 laps to fend Ambient Stub, who's got 8 seconds behind. So has he got enough with 1 lap potentially more to go? I don't think Ambient Stub has got it, but he is very, very quick, and he's racing round in the 153s. Johnny Joyrider is in 159, so with 7 seconds to go, it is potentially possible, and 1 lap remaining. All depends where the leaders are now. The leaders are on their last lap. With 1 minute to go at Shalco, if this will in fact be the last lap, 8 laps. Sam, unless he makes a massive mistake, he should take P2. Vale side will take P3. And it's this battle here. Has Ambient Stub got enough coming into the final lap? There is Johnny Joyrider going across the line now. What was his lap time on this one? As he comes to start the final lap, it was a 1:59.7. He has 5 seconds ahead of Amit Stubb. It is a 52. There's a 7-second gap. If Amit Stubb can pull off the same lap time, he should be able to take P5. But we'll have to see how that goes. The Flying Scotsman is in P7. Ice do P8, Larnaca P9, and Jinx has dropped down to P10, but it's still 3 or 4 positions up from where he potentially expected himself to finish. So really good work for Jinx. Just watching this challenge here as Johnny Joyrider, the gap ahead is now down to 3 seconds. Where are our leaders? Our leaders are coming into the final corner. There's Inter Allsorts giving a nice little wobble for the crowd, teasing them for a potential crash. But he takes the a maiden win in these vintage cars. Sam Thumping put my teeth back in. He takes P2, and we have a little bit of a wait here as Larnaca drives up the hill for P3. Really good race for Wayne, because comes into the final corner in P4. And then it's going to be it's coming into Druids. My apologies. And then we've got a really interesting race here between Johnny Joyrider and Ambient Stubb. Has Ambient Stubb been able to catch enough on this lap? There is the gap. Wayne is now coming across the line, coming to final corner across the line. We'll jump on board with Ambient Stubb. Really good result there for Wayne, taking P4. Has Stubb got enough, or has Johnny Joyrider been able to pull out an extra little bit of time he needs? Coming around the final corner. I think it is Johnny Joyrider's position to lose. He should finish P5. Really good attempt though for Ambient Stubb, finishes in P6. Flying Scotsman is in P7. Larnaca at P9 and Jinx in P10. So a little bit more spread out, these drivers in this race, but a really interesting race nonetheless. Slightly disappointing to have a couple of drivers leave us. There was an incident with one of the new drivers for sure. That will be discussed in the lobby. I'm sure the drivers are discussing it now, but we'll see how many drivers will get back. We'll have Charlie Goff back with us for the next one, which is the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. That's the next car out on track. And then our final race of the evening will be in the Formula Renault 3.5. The first powerful open wheel event is replacing the Formula Rookie. The Lamborghini Super Trofeo is replacing the M1 Pro Car Series, which now has its own racing series on the Wento. So that is your results. Fastest lap honours goes to Sam Thumfinger. Really good work for him. I'll make sure we save this replay for out of time there, but we have a bit of footage anyway. I'm going to leave you for a moment for a short break, and we will be back and bringing you the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. And I am back with you guys. Sorry I've taken a short break. I needed to get a little bit of fluids on board. Lovely bit of busy orange to keep everything nicely lubricated for this penultimate race in the Super Trofeo. Has a lovely selection of liveries going out here. Everyone's getting all settled. I'm gonna. Who have we got in this party? Bear with me just a moment. And there we go. Just checking everything is in order for this final race, the penultimate race. It's the first time we're going to be bringing these Lamborghini Super Trofeos in. So interesting to see how the guys enjoy them. We had the Ferrari 488 series in season 1, where we bounced around the different selection of Ferrari 488s, either the GT3, the GTE, or the 488 Challenge. Each had their own elements. We bounced across all 3 variants across the season. This year we are keeping with the Super Trofeo, which once the cars have got the tyres nice and warm, should be really good. Hoping to organise another quick chat with another one of the drivers. Let's have a see how it's going on from here. We are just waiting for everything to get set up. There we go. We're loading into the lobby. So here we are out on track. There's the 10 minutes of practice familiarization time just to get used to these cars. I think a few guys might struggle. It's the most powerful car we've run so far. So Yip is out on track. He's leading the guys behind. Lovely selection of colours these cars found. Sound absolutely fantastic. Jump on board with Wayne. He's an avid lover. These cars. There's someone spun there on their outlap. These cars do need a bit of love to get them prepared. Bring the map up so you can see where everyone is kind of spinning around and who's sitting in the pits. We are waiting for Ambient, Ice Dude and a Flight Scotsman to leave. So we got out on track. Yeah, it's the fourth race of the night. If you've missed the other races, they will be on the stream for you later on. Hopefully we'll have some of the guys joining us either for a quick comment
Evening,
or for a
Nate.
quick chat. Here it is. Here's Inter All Sorts. Inter, what a great race.
How you doing?
We're all good up here.
Lucky. I feel the last one was a lucky race.
Lucky race. We
I have to say.
You had a fantastic start. You was on side Yip, who didn't get along very well, and then caused a bit of a 5-car wide battle into turn 1. And then it was a battle between you and Sam as to who could keep the car straight line the longest.
And I think Sam was definitely the fastest in that car. There was no two ways about it. I couldn't stay with him. It was only the fact that Sam dropped it gave me the lead. He handed it to me rather than I took it.
We did have a bit of a Lowell and Hardy moment where you guys dropped at the same corner.
The same through the little chicane. Yeah, Sam did me a second favour there and dropped it again for me. It's very good of him. It's like Christmas came early. But it was, they're great fun, those cars. I do liken them more to speedboats and racing cars, but they are good fun.
Yeah, we was mentioning on stream about the very hard lack of aero and a reliance on mechanical grip, and now you're in something completely the opposite.
Absolutely. I have to say, I think Sam was dancing that car and making it look good. I think I was just trying to manhandle it and not making it look so good.
But we had a really good result for Wayne in the last race. He was battling really well with Kingy for a while, and he ended up in P4. Kingy had a tiny bit of moment into Druids, but credit to Wayne for keeping it on track and again a car that he's not had much time in. I don't think many people have had much time in this car, to be honest.
The DB is not an easy car to drive at all. It's definitely one of probably the most challenging cars out of the 5 that we've got. There are faster cars, but I think on pure just drivability, that has the most driver skill to get around a lap. Good fun doing it. It's a great car.
Right, you've just completed your outlap or so in the Super Trofeo. How's it handling? I know they're a bit slippy until they get warm.
Yeah, I have to admit I'm not looking forward to this one so much because I don't think I've really got an understanding of this car to be able to drive well and fast. But I'm just going to give it a go, see what happens.
In real life, these cars are slightly less than a GT3, but for some reason in this game they're kind of part and parcel with a GTE, but less stable. If you can keep hold of them, they'll run at the GTE pace.
They're definitely faster. Well, they definitely feel faster than a GT3 to me. These cars.
Well, it's the second fastest car of the night. The fastest car we've driven so far. So you see the lap times coming in. They're in the 130s for Larnaca, who's very accustomed to these sort of cars. Waiting to see some of the other guys pop a lap time in. Sam's up there with a 137. Certainly no love lost between you and your ex-teammate.
My ex-teammate? When did I lose him? Where's he gone?
He's left of wanting. He's with you for the touring cars, but in the endurance race, he's in the endurance race on the Wednesday in the M1 Pro cars. He's teamed up with the enemy known as Le Stub.
Has he? Oh, sad news to me. Oh.
But,
who am I with on the M1, Sam? I'll have to find a new teammate.
I believe you are teamed up with Ollie, who had a really good race.
Oh, and I let him down by not being able to attend.
Well, we have our drop race system, so it's not a problem. Ollie had a really good race. I think he finished, in maximising percentage, I think he finished 6th overall in that race.
It's good. It's good that we're mixing the teams up and mixing up the championships. I think it's a healthy thing to do, and I'm all for that.
We've got Charlie Guff here, who's just pulled a 139 on his first lap, and track's only going to get warmer, so he certainly can handle this car well, running on a game controller as well.
Has there been some good action tonight? on the stream? Because obviously I only get to see my view. So
We've
have
had
I
some
missed a
really
lot
good
of?
battles throughout the grid. The most surprising ones are always happening in the same cars. So Wayne, Kingy, and the Flying Scotsman have been at it almost every single race. Larnaca's normally in there somewhere. Stubb on the last race had 8 seconds to hunt down Johnny Joyrider and managed to fall half a second short on the last lap. So
Oh,
was watching you guys finishing the race at the front and kind of half hoping that Johnny had just enough to keep him behind. But there's a reason why. I think Stubb had an incident on first lap. I'm not sure what happened, but we lost somebody out of the lobby, or somebody
okay.
retired, and then they retired instantly, and then we saw Stubb in the pits. So I'm not sure if there was an incident a bit further back on the grid whilst you guys got ahead nice and clean.
Now, Nath, would you recommend stable or loose with these cars?
The main difference between the two is only really in the brakes and differential. So it depends whether you want them to be stable on entry or not. The exit is always going to be tail happy in this car. It's just
Ah,
how
so I
much
might
you
as well
want to
go
slide
loose
it
all the
into
way
the
then.
corner. Yeah, you can
Okay.
control most of it by the brake balance, which you can adjust inside the car. So if you want it to turn a bit more on nose and ride the brake through the corner, just put a few more clicks forward. But if you want the car to turn under the brakes and get the back end in, then obviously put it a few clicks back. Myself, I prefer a car a bit more on the nose. I want to ride the brake through the corner. I don't like the car being twitchy going into the corner. As a personal preference, I want it to point where I want to stay where I pointed it.
I'm not too sure whether I'm stable or loose now. I'm going to have to go back to the garage and just check, just to make
There
sure.
we go.
And how are you enjoying commentating for the evening? Are you missing actually being out on track?
Absolutely, I'm missing on track, but the
Yeah,
racing
because we
itself is
do miss you on
phenomenal.
track as well.
Well, we've got
I have to, I have to say, this second season is shaping up because we seem to have some quite class acts joined us on the grid.
well, we're
And
in round
then
one. We've got 14
obviously,
man lobby, and we're missing at least 4 of our main names. I mean, Ali, we're missing. We've missed Snickers, who's found some amazing pace recently. We're missing Harry as well. So there's 3 names to top things off. Lord of Lincoln can't be with us for this season. There's a 4th household name fresh. As you look at that time, Larnaca's 200ths behind you there.
as long as he stays there, that's fine.
But yeah, it's. I'm really enjoying watching the grid. I know there's 2 battles really, maybe 3 little groups in a minute, but I am expecting throughout the season these battles to close up.
Yeah, and develop. I have to say that's what I like looking through the grid and seeing some of the battles. There's a lot of battles going on, and obviously we always wanted this to be all about the racing, and I can definitely see there's a lot of racing going up and down the grid, which is good to see. It's good to see those battles forming and happening.
And full credit to Jinx, who is not having the greatest of nights, but he's not smashing it into the wall, and he's got himself some really good positions, midfield positions, just by keeping it on the track. And that's epitomises what we're trying to do here in this league. We don't really want people to be fast in the outright. We want to be there to help develop you, as Larnaca tries to spin it and try and flip the car on the final lap of practice to no avail. We're coming into the final part of our practice session. I can see this one being very interesting race. Especially with sort of those times, so expecting a few surprises. I think Wayne will find his pace. I think King will get used to it, and the Flying Scotsman to find his rhythm as well. So let's have a look and see what our random grid brings us for race 4. This is the maiden race in the Super Trofeo, and it is the man we were just chatting to, Inter All Sorts, who finds himself on pole. He's working his way up through the grid on this random order.
How lucky am I?
So he started last, 5th, 2nd, and now 1st. But you do have Mr. Lamborghini Wayne on the front row with you. Second row we have Johnny Joyrider and Sam Thumfinger. These two guys are very quick, 5th and 6th. On the third row, Valeside and Ambient. Again, expect these two guys to be pushing straight at the start. It's going to be a straight fight between the front 6, even the front 8, because you've got Kingy and Flying Scotsman on the 4th row. Charlie Goff is alongside Yip in 9th and 10th. Ice Dude is behind Charlie Goff in 11th. Jinx is in 12th, and Larnaca towards the back of the grid with Kobe. Larnaca probably won't be happy with these recent qualifyings or fake qualifyings because he's at the back fair enough. Let's see if Kobe can keep it clean on this race and just fight through. That's the key for these back markers, guys. I say back markers, but they're relatively new to us, so just need to keep their nose clean and wait for the guys ahead to have a bit of a mess up. What have we got in terms of cars? Have we got time to run through? Inter is there, red, white and black. Wayne has a similar livery. There's Johnny Joyrider in the green. Sam with a beautiful purple livery there. Valeside's also the green one. Ambient, Kingy. So let's have a look. We're going to ride on board with Kingy for this start here. Revving up. Don't want a penalty, guys. And away we go. We got any penalties? No, we don't. Here we go, guys, battling. We're coming to turn 1. We are on board with Kingy. That is Ambient on the inside, takes P6, but he's a little bit on the grass. Can he keep the car stopped? He can. The Sam runs wide. Let's have a look at what is happening further up front. There's a little bit of mayhem. It is Inter who's breaking away, but only Wayne is so close behind. Johnny Joyrider there, 1, 2, 3, and then we have another group behind of Ambient, Vale and Charlie Goff. The Flying Scotsman's in there as well, and Kingy after a little bit of a moment in P8. Sam Thumfinger is in P9. Jinx, P10. Yip, P11. Ice Dude's gone round, he's in P12. Larnaca and Kobe keeping it clean further back. It's a bit of a battle further around the hill. Let's keep a look on this battle. Look at these cars coming down the hill. Keeping an eye on Valeside, who's got Ambient closing in behind him. But there's a moment there for Johnny Joyrider. Or is it Wayne? It's Wayne that's gone round, and Johnny Joyrider's round. There's a massive moment there coming around the second chicane. And all chaos has broken out. It's just waiting for the race to settle down to see who is where. It is Ambient Stubb who is out in front with Vale in second. Charlie Goff's gone a little bit wide at Druids, but he's still on track. Kinky had not the greatest turn 1, is now back up into P4. Johnny Joyrider in P5, and it's Sam in that beautiful purple Apex livery in P6. Flying Scotsman in P7. Enters dropped from P1 down to P8. There's Nico in P9. Ice Dude, Jinx, Yip, and Larnaca. Larnaca's making his way through the field, even though he is somehow on the wrong part of the track coming in the final corner. Not sure he ended up there, but he is making his way through nonetheless. Great race again for Jinx. He's only 16 seconds off the leader. What have we got going through as a grid? Ambient Stubb is, as we've seen so far, he's gone out front, starting to pull a little bit of a gap to Vale behind. Then there's a big battle. Johnny Joyrider has had another moment coming into Shell Curve. I wonder if he's picked up some damage there. There's a car missing a corner there. Not sure who that was. Is it a lap? No, there's no lap car. It's not far enough behind there. Who's in that grey car? Just decided not to make the corner. He's had to yield the position. Is the Flying Scotsman there? He wasn't able to make the corner, but immediately yielded the position to Inter, and now has Sam for company behind. His Ambient Stubb coming on to lap 3. The guys starting to get a bit spread out. There's Vale side coming over the hill in P2. Charlie Goff coming through in P3. He's got 11 seconds. The gap between into behind. Flying Scotsman is still in P5, but he has Sam for company there. Sam dives into the pits for some damage repair. It's the only reason why I could think why he's got too much damage to carry on the race. Flying Scotsman, he's got his line all wrong into turn 1. He's still running the DBR1 line into turn 1, and we saw him do that a fair few times. We are down to 12 drivers now. We've lost 2 drivers retired from the race. Let's have a look to see who they are in a minute. I think Wayne is still here. He's in P6. A number of drivers into the pits actually. Ice Dude's in. Johnny Joyrider is in. Sam is now leaving the pits. So we have a current high position for Jinx. He just needs to keep the car on track. A little bit of loose bodywork there though, flapping in the wind. But he's there in P7, 7 seconds, 8 seconds behind Wayne ahead. He just needs to keep this car on track. There's Kobe, 44 seconds off the leader. He's again, and yep, just keep these cars on track. They're very powerful cars. They don't like too much transverse movement along the side, but you do need to keep these cars nice and warm. They like to float into the corners and then power out, but the sound of these machines is absolutely phenomenal. Let's have a jump on board and I'll let you listen to the beautiful sound of that V10. Very interesting there on the entry to Knickerbrook chicane. Our leader Stubb had to dodge a massive piece of debris that would have caused him some aero damage. It was a good job to have seen that early and avoid it on the entrance. He's now coming through Drew as he comes into the final corner to complete another successful lap. What's the fastest man out on track last one? What's he done on this lap? Similar pace, so let's see how Vale side the guy behind. V2, he's lapping 1:36.3, really good lap for Vale side there. He's able to pull a bit of a gap on Charlie Goff, who's holding third really well. He just needs to keep on his lines. He might even be able to close down the guy ahead. 38 last time around. Inter also across the line, 37. That's 1.2 seconds quicker than Charlie Goff in P3. So we'll have to see if the 8 minutes remaining has Inter All Sorts got enough to fly through, as we've lost another 2 retirement drivers. Now we're down to 10 in this race. It's the Flying Scotsman who is in P5. Wayne, who's had a moment in the final corner, he's in P6. Jinx in P7, but he's got Sam right behind him. Sam, who's making a recovery drive through the field, takes a look to the inside of the final corner. He's through. Can he get the car stopped in time? Wait to see the exit corner. He is back into. So Jinx is in P8. Ice Dude is behind. 15 seconds to go. But Ice Dude is saying that he's just had a moment coming to Druids. Keeps out of the wall. Keeps out of the wall, but he's still there. P9 and Johnny Joyride in P10. So we've lost Larnaca from this race. We've lost Joby. We've lost Kobe. We've lost Yip. It's 3 drivers. I'm just trying to figure out the final driver that we've lost from this one. We did start with 14 and we are down to 10. So we're watching Johnny Joyrider trying to find some rhythm in this rather delicate and tricky car. Jinx is keeping it on track, and the rest of the field is keeping a little bit spaced. Stubbs probably essentially managing a bit of his pace now. He doesn't need to go full metal unless the guys behind find a lot of pace. And the top 4 guys running within 3/10 of each other on their fastest lap times, or last lap times. Amit Stubb does have the fastest lap time by nearly a second. Valeside is doing 36.3, Amit Stubb with a 35.4. Charlie Goff's just really quick pace, considering he's racing on a controller. It's fantastically quick pace there, the 136.8. A 137.0 is the best that Inter All Sorts has offered so far, and a 37.4 for Sam Thumping, a couple of the guys dotting around. Again, Jinx, he's technically the slowest man on track, but he's not, because he's not in the final position. He's got 5 minutes to fend off the 2 guys behind him best he can. This is Ice Dude closing in on the onto the back of Jinx. Let's jump onto the bumper can to see what we can see coming into turn 1. See the ABS braking there for Jinx ahead. How is Ice going to make this move? He's lifting off into turn 2. Jinx holds his line exit, thinks about the block, but very good awareness there by Jinx. Just lets him through in the end, and make sure he doesn't get caught up in a massive collision. Thought about blocking the inside line, was a little bit late in doing so, and ended up just conceding position and keeps driving around. Hopefully he doesn't get too disheartened, he just keeps his head to it. Last lap was a little bit slower, so he's had a bit of a mistake, and there's another moment there. Let's see if he can keep it on track. Yes, he lost a couple of seconds there, but he just needs to keep going. He's already 4 places ahead of the guys who were unable to finish the race for whatever reason. We haven't witnessed many crashes. There's a few incidents and a few spins here and there, but we haven't seen massive collisions. It's your race leader with 3.5 minutes to go, starting lap 8. So we should see 2 more laps, give or take, maybe even going on to a 3rd more lap. Jinx is back down the field. He's close back up to Ice Dude there. I wonder if Ice has had a moment. More likely than not. We know he struggled at Druid's Corner on the previous lap. As we come across the line in this one, Ice has done the 152 and Jinx done the 156. So yeah, must have had a tiny bit of a moment. Caught up all the time at the start of the lap and then lost it towards the end. Any other battles happening through the field? Not at the moment. It seems to be quite spread out. Amit Stubb has lapped the final 3 positions, so Ice, Jinx and Johnny Joyrider are all a lap down from the leader. Johnny Joyrider is closing the gap on Jinx. He's going to look about going on the outside there. No room. Defends. There's a car round. That is Ice, all that good work he's done to get himself further up, and he's further round. I have actually noticed the blaring part missing from Jinx's car is the rear wing. He has missing a huge chunk of his rear wing, which is potentially why he's losing a fair bit of speed there. He's losing a lot of downforce coming around some of the high speed corners, which would credit as to why with the front wing damage as well, he's doing a fantastic job just to keep the car on track. And saying that, he's just gone a little bit wide, and Nick and caught the grass, and that is Jinx round to the back, but he's out of the way and he just needs to keep going. We are on lap 9. We should see 1 more lap. Ice is in P9. Johnny Joyrider's P8. Coming up the order, we've got Sam in P7. who has to find 8 seconds in the last 2 laps on down Wayne, who's in P6, having a really quiet but consistent race. The Flying Scotsman running a tiny bit wide there on the gravel. That would have cost him a fair bit of time, but he is in P5. There's a comfortable gap now to Inter All Sorts in P4. Charlie Goff is in P3, and the race leader for the most of the race, Amit Stubb, he's in P2. So something has happened there. Amit Stubb close to the fastest lap of the race, and finds himself now in second position, trying to hunt down Valeside. I wonder if the car's got a tiny bit leery, and Valeside has took advantage. We see a lot more debris that looks like debris from Ice Dude on the track. Valeside is running 6/10 faster than his fastest lap right now, so this should see him into the 1 minute 35s. This is your current race leader in the setting fastest laps. Now he's in some really clear air. 20 seconds left to go. That's a 35.6 there from Valeside. A fantastic lap from him as he leads the final lap. Ambient Stubb must have had another moment now, because he's finds himself in P3, and Charlie Goff is in at P2. Really good racing here from Charlie Goff. He's now in P2, and the guy who's led the entire race so far up until the penultimate lap finds himself in P3, being hunted down by the old enemy Inter All Sorts. Has Inter got enough to catch up? The rest of the grid is starting to come to a better fruition as well. Wayne is going to be under pressure from Flying Scotsman very shortly, with not much left of this race to go. Ice Dude has found himself somehow back into 8th for Johnny Joyrider and Jinx. They are separated by about 12 seconds, those two drivers, but they've been changing throughout the race. So we're just going to check to see how this one all fares out. Doesn't look like Inter All Sorts is going to be able to pull that gap enough. He's gained a second so far. I don't think it's going to be enough though on the final lap. He's going to have to wait to see if Ambient makes another uncharacteristical mistake. But it is Valeside we're watching coming into the final corner. Spots his braking point, turns nicely, keeps the car just enough on track there, not running too wide, and he comes up the hill and across the line. It's Valeside who wins the first Super Trofeo Race Here Club event, and Charlie Goff bearing a blatant error on the final lap. He keeps it nice and easy, powers up the hill. It's P2 for Charlie Goff. Really good race for him. Ambient Stubb, not sure what happened, but he finishes in P3. That's Inter All Sorts behind with the P4. And then we've got a fair wait to go here. Here's Wayne and the Flying Scotsman. They're coming around the first chicane. Into the second chicane we go. Wayne doing everything he needs to do just to keep the car on track to make sure he holds his place from the Flying Scotsman behind. But he's got to be careful that Flying Scotsman, because Sam Thumping is behind now, and in fact he's through because Flying Scotsman is round. And it's Sam who's up into P6 and Wayne who should take P5. A lot happened in this final race. Another one of these races, unfortunately not able to keep all the drivers we started with, but we have 10 finishers and Wayne is the 5th of those. It's Sam Thumping who takes P6 after needing to dive into the pits on lap 1 or lap 2. Flying Scotsman does really well to keep it on track. He takes P7, he'll be happy. Johnny Joyrider takes 8th. Ice Dude takes 9th and Jinx takes 10th. And so that was a very, very interesting race there. We are running a tiny bit behind our schedule. We should normally be done by now, but we're going to be running with a few errors here. We're going to be going into the final race very, very shortly, and it's going to be the Formula Renault 3.5. This car has replaced the Formula Rookie as the open wheel event in the evening. Now, the Formula Rookie was a fantastic car to be racing, but it had its moments where cars interlocking wheels, cars would find themselves on the roof, sometimes more often than not. So we've upgraded to the Formula Renault. Hopefully these cars are a little bit more robust with racing, but it is a very, very tight track. So we see the drivers getting ready to choose their livery. Let's have a look, see if we've got so good. We are still with our 14 drivers. So a few of these guys will be more used to these cars. Some people have run these cars in previous championships. So it's going to be very interesting to see what sort of pace we have out on track. Just thought we'd bring up some of the information for the Formula Renault that we're racing here tonight. It runs the 6-speed sequential V8 engine. As you can see, very quick acceleration, very high horsepower, and very minimal weight. Rear wheel drive, so once these cars get up to temperature in terms of tyres, expect the aero to hold in the faster corners as well. So we saw the 135 times hit in the Super Trofeo cars. We'll expect to be closing in on that 1 minute 20 mark for sure in these cars. Into the just waiting for the final moments for these guys to get running. Got the 10-minute practice session and then into the final race of the night. It's been a very, very eventful racing so far. A couple of our drivers have been involved in a couple of minor incidents and a couple of spins that stopped them from having really good nights. Some other drivers who just focused on hitting their marks, hitting their consistency, have had some really good results as well. I know a few drivers will be very happy with what they've achieved so far, and definitely looking to use these slightly faster cars. A lot of aero in these cars. Let's see. Here we go, out on track 14, drivers on the grid. We hear those very high revving V8 starting up. Let's have a look who we've got on the grid. Here is Yip in this number 26 car there. Kobe, very interestingly coloured car. What number is he running? He's in the number 20. 26, 20. Is Inter all sorts waiting to leave the pits there. Vale side in the 24 blue, running a little bit deep onto the shell curve there. Larnaca's behind. He's in the number 2 car. He was hoping to finish for number 2, if not better. I'm pretty sure of it. Kingy's gone for the classic green. And here's number 19. We have Wayne in the Fanatec black and white number 5. Home of the number 5 is Wayne for most of the cars. Johnny Joyrider for company there. He's oh, his car goes straight on. The Flying Scotsman. Jinxie's still here. Ambient Stub. Oh, massive coming together there. Miscommunication between the two drivers. I think that's Ambient and Ice. Sure, they'll settle it. Settle in the background. Just a few moments on track now. These drivers just get a little bit too friendly. Happy to have them get it out of their system. Now we're coming down before into the race. Bring them up on this side for you. As mentioned, this is the final race of round 1 of our club sprint race. A nice, relatively full grid tonight. We hopefully see a couple more drivers. We are missing a few of our more regular drivers, and we've seen a couple of new drivers join us as well. Had some really interesting moments, some really interesting racing as well. Different approaches to a number of different cars. That's what this club sprint night brings you. It brings you random qualifying grids. It brings you very short, snappy 15-minute races where it's a little bit about consistency and a little bit about pace and a lot about consistency. And thinking a bit bigger picture, you don't want to be diving in the first minute with 14 minutes to go in case you damage your car, because if you damage your car, unless everyone else damages the car, you're pretty much out of the race. Let's have a watch with Sam here. He's had a bit of friendship with, I think that's Kingy. He's not able to get a good lap. It is Kingy. Kingy's just not able to get the car out long enough to be able to get a good lap in. Charlie Guff getting a bit squirrely under the bricks. I do think this is one of the cars that few of the drivers have been waiting for. You see Charlie Goff take the inside of a slower car there. So I am sort of hoping the racing is going to be very clean between these guys. The option to use the DRS in these cars, although in previous testing it doesn't seem to be that effective around this sort of track. Watch this blue car spun around there. Let's have a look at a little bit of T-cam to see what ambient stub is racing with 5 minutes left of practice left to go. Don't forget, if you enjoyed some of our racing tonight, we will be dropping a link to our Discord in the description after the live has ended. If you enjoyed a little bit what you've seen, don't forget to drop a like, comment on what you've seen. If there's something you think that I've missed or something you want to see, let us know. If you want to subscribe to see more of what we do, click that subscribe button. But we would really love for you to join us out on track. We do have 3 series running. This is our more of a chill, relaxed, open mic night where people get to chat to each other. You can probably see on the left hand side all the drivers chatting to each other about practice, about different corners and different situations. On a Wednesday night we run a BMW M1 Pro Car Enduro series. This is a almost Super Bowl style qualifying session. You get 10 minutes to do the best qualifying you can within your group setting. So there's only 4 cars out on track at any one time. And then you've got an hour race where you're limited with your fuel. You'll have enough fuel to last the race, but you still need to be a bit smart with it. And you get 2 sets of soft tyres to lap to, so you do have to look after your tyres, make sure they lap at the best pace. On Sunday we have our touring car series. All events happen at 8 PM GMT at the moment, because we've now moved back away from British summertime, so it happened 8 PM British time. So we would hopefully be able to get some footage out of some of our races for these events for you. The touring cars are very, very competitive. We run just a smaller sprint race, so you have a 15-minute sprint race, and then we go on to a larger 35-minute race. Tyre wear is on, fuel consumption is on. We're not expected to make any pit stops in that series, trying to get the racing as close to what I'd experience in real life as possible. Obviously there's a lot of restrictions being in game, but we do our best. Now, if you've heard with some of the anecdotes from, we've had Ambient Stubbs been in here, Enter All Sorts. We're chatting with these guys earlier on the stream. A massive part of the community, and that's part of what we're trying to build here. We're not the fastest of racers, sometimes we're not the most consistent, and occasionally we're not the cleanest. We've seen a couple of moments here and now in practice already. But one thing we do like to bring is that little bit of communication between everybody, a nice chat, everyone has a bit of fun. Honesty is a big part of what we do here. We do like to run with more different limitations. We turn track limits off, so we kind of entice drivers to have that close to racing, be able to race side by side and not worry about the game issuing a penalty. But that does come with a side of, actually, there's the chance that a driver could cut a corner and gain an advantage, but we monitor what we can monitor. But most of the time, a driver in our community who, you run wide, you cut a corner, you level the time back off on the relative, and everything goes from there. Back to the racing at hand, is quite a spectrum of times in this practice. We haven't seen time set from Yep or Ice. Ice is certainly enjoying himself. He shared on the Discord with the community. This is a lovely Friday night for him. He's had a few beers to help him with his racing. It'd be very interesting to see if he can keep his car on track. He certainly wouldn't be able to drive his car in real life, but I certainly wouldn't trust him to drive the car in real life right now as well, with how he's cannons the wall and he's left his wing behind. Wayne's there having a bit of a practice battle. It's 1 minute to go on this practice session. Remember, these times are really not really relative, and maybe a little bit of race pace in there, but it's just not long enough to be able to judge whether someone's going to be able to run at this sort of pace consistently for 15 minutes. And we run the random grids anyway. All drivers as well. The key function to this is its default setup. You don't have to spend hours getting the car set up or joining it. You just need to put a few laps in, practicing the track. Choose your preference on the stable or loose setup and just go out and run it. Put a few laps in and If it's the wrong decision, it's the wrong decision. Never mind, on to the next race and the next track. A little bit of a recap when we go into thing and we enter the final race. The race 1, we had Renault Clios, which ended up being Ambient Stub took the victory there, and then we went into race 2 with the Genetic GT5s. The reigning champion Ambient Stub took a victory in this one as well. We see a car lock up there coming to the one final corners. Race 3, we saw the DBR1. Swain's gone round there. It's a shame, he was almost a second up on that lap. Just put 2 power down a bit too much early. And it's cost him. He'll now know he can't do that coming to the race. The DBR1 was won in the first round by Inter All Sorts. We then got to the Super Trofeo, won by Veilside, who's currently sitting at 8th on pace here. And this is the final race of the night. His Formula Renaults. 14 on the grid starting. Let's really hope we can keep 14 on the grid at the end. These cars are a little bit more fragile when they contact a wall, as we've already seen. But hopefully the drivers will be able to return to the pits. Cars were going the wrong way there. Not sure who that was. Let's have a look. Just gonna bear with me a second, everybody, whilst I take a moment to prep for the final race. Apologies for that break, as with a few of the guys racing with us. We have families to deal with. Whilst we're racing, fortunately while streaming, having a little one with night terrors is what keeps you running up and down the stairs and keeps you fit enough to keep racing. Anyway, back at track at hand, we've got our final grid for the final race. It's Sam Thumpfinger who takes P1 for the first time. Kobe is in P2, Amit Stubbs in P3, Larnaca P4, Flying Scotsman P5, Johnny Joyrider P6, Kingy 7, Charlie Goff 8th, Inter All Sorts in 9th, Yip in 10, Ice Dude 11th, King Jinx in 12th, Veilside 13, and Wayne in 14. It's a very sideways start for Kobe, who drops down the order, and Sam and Ambient are clear. And there's Larnaca in P3, Kobe's holding P4, Flying Scotsman in P5. Sounds like there's been a bit of a collision further back. There's too many cars joined up in that, and to see in the background there's one car has gone airborne. I think that was Charlie Goff who's gone flying into the sky. So let's see what's happened a bit further back out front. Ambient Stub and Sam have dropped away rather nicely, and they've got Larnaca for company. It's Sam that leads Ambient Stub, that leads Larnaca, with Flying Scotsman in 4th, Johnny Joyrider is in 5th, Jinxie's in 6th, Ice Dude 7, Yip 8th, Kingy in 9th. This is all changing all the time on the end of the first lap as they come up to Druids for the first time. Ambient has dropped a little bit behind here. I wonder if the little bit of dirty air in the aero is struggling to keep on track behind Sam. But Sam is really quick on this opening lap, and he's really put his pedal down. Very comfortable in this car. First 3 drivers are across the line onto lap 2. It's Sam in front of Ambient and Salonica, and then Flying Scotsman's got Johnny Joyride all over the back of him as they come into turn 1. Both cars battling to keep on track there. Ice Dude is in P6 and there's Kingy in P7. Yip is in P8, but he's running well off track on the final corner and is surely going to be overtaken in the moment. There is Wayne without a front wing. Will he come into the pits for a new one? I believe he will. He's struggling to get stopped in time. It's how much braking performance you lose. There's Jinx with a lot of suspension damage. You can see on the front right the wheel is not wanting to go straight, and now he has a lot of suspension damage on the front left. Vale side again is missing a lot of damage. There's Inter All Sorts who's missing and a lot of suspension damage. Charlie Goff, he's the car that went airborne. Can he get the car back round? And there is Kobe, potentially the cause for all the commotion to start. Let's hope he doesn't collect one of the leaders on the way through. Meanwhile, out front, Ambient Stub has closed up onto the back of Sam. Has he got enough pace in the slipstream to come round into turn 1? Not on this lap, he doesn't. Sam is out in front, he's in the white and orange car. Ambient's in the yellow, primarily yellow and a little bit of red. Sam dips the wheel on the gravel there on the exit. That won't help his cause to keep Ambient Stub behind. Let's see if Sam can keep it out on track and get his and be our 4th different race winner in 5 races. But the guy behind Ambient Stub, he wants his 3rd win of the night. I'm sure he's not going to make life easy. Everybody from P9 down effectively in the pits. We've lost 1 runner done for the night. Charlie Guff is just ambling around with a very broken car. And Kobe appears to be doing the same. Kobe's returning to the pits for repairs. Jinx is in for repairs, as is Vale side. He's in for his right pit box. So Wayne is the furthest car behind. It doesn't appear to have got a new nose cone in front. Not sure if that is a graphical glitch, but certainly missing a huge chunk of his car, although it doesn't seem to be affecting his performance. Ambient Stub is still all over the back of Sam Thumbfinger. This is the best battle we've got at the moment. Jump on board with Ambient Stub here on lap 4 now, still 10.5 minutes to go. A couple of glitches there, connection glitches. Just thought he was going to be barreling into the wall there, he isn't. Contrasting lines coming into this set of chicanes here. Sam able to gain a bit of time there, but Stub able to rein it back in with the slipstream coming into the braking zone. These cars coming up to a lot of traffic now. The downside to running faster cars means you do a lot more laps. Jump back trackside and have a look down the order. These guys come up to Druids. Competing on to lap 4. That's Sam getting past the back mark. I think that's Wayne keeping well out of the way, and he keeps out of the way. Wasn't aware that Ambient Stub was on the inside there, and Ambient's lost a lot of time. Not entirely to blame there. Half of our grid is currently in the pits. Not exactly something you want to be seeing, but as we come into lap 5, Sam leads Ambient Stub. Larnaca is in P3, coming over the hill there in his grey and yellow. Every turning left, chasing these other guys down. And there's Wayne getting well out of the way. Johnny Joyrider is in P4, Kingy's in P5, Ice Dude is in P6, but he seems to be all over the shop. Not sure if that's connection or if that's a lot of damage. A lot of these cars are missing massive parts of them. Yip is still in the pits, and we have another retiree. Valside Racing to come out after his damage. Enter All Sorts is still repairing, as is Kobe and Charlie Goff. 6 legs down. So it'll be very interesting to see how this all fares up on the timings, because the guys out front are already 4 laps ahead. 3 or 4 laps ahead. His guys coming out the pits. Jinx is out and round. Is he out of the race? Or is he just coming back on track? His drivers just need to work about keeping the car on the track in a straight line the best he can. That's easier said than done when you're sat in the commentary watching them. Out front, we have lost Ambient. I think Ambient has had a disconnect. So we should have a 4th different winner for in 5 races, because Ambient is not on my list. He is one of the guys who's not showing. We started with 14, we're down to 12. 7.5 minutes to go. Sam has a comfortable 10-second lead over Larnaca in P2. Then you'll have to wait 30 seconds back to find Kingy on the podium position in P3. The mildly inebriated Ice Dude is in P4, who's keeping the car really well on track, with A, without a nose cone, and B, after enjoying a couple of beers whilst racing tonight. And to be honest, you can't really blame him. And Johnny Joyrider is in P5. And Wayne very close, in fact, 4 seconds behind, you'll find Wayne. Then you've got a massive gap to Yip in P7. Jinx is in P8, but he's struggling with that car just to keep it in a straight line. Valeside, who's been in for a massive amount of repairs, is in P9. Inter All Sorts the same. He's looking 5 minutes off the leader already into a 58-minute race. Kobe is back out of the pits now. He's going to start his 2nd lap, and Charlie Goff is in repairs. He did get airborne on lap 1. As we watch Larnaca come in for a pits. I wonder if that was a drive-through penalty. We'll have to see. I wonder if Larnaca picked up a drive-through penalty for a jump start, but he's back out in front in P2, so if it was a jump start, no damage done. He wasn't going to be able to catch Sam out front. Sam was lapping a lot quicker, and Larnaca took his penalty and was able to come back ahead of Kingy. No movement on the board as of yet. This is a very widespread race. We do have 12 runners remaining despite all the chaos that's happening. So we're waiting to see how everything unfolds. The guys out front lapping considerably quicker and could in fact lap most of the field. Something we're probably used to seeing a little bit too much in these Formula cars. But here is a bunch of 3 cars. That is Kingy looking to lap Jinx, and Valeside looking to unlap himself. Kingy is in P3, so let's hope that these guys don't collide. Jinxie is now out of the way, and there is Valeside chasing down Kingy. So it's interesting to see the pace difference here. Valeside is a couple of laps down, but does he have more pace than Kingy? Kingy just needs to keep the car on track, and might see him, moves out of the way and lets the guy go. Vale is now free to continue to try and unlap the remaining laps, even though he has 4 minutes remaining. Sam out front, he's having a Lewis Hamilton race. Just needs to keep the car on track and keep it pointed the right way, and he should come home with a good victory. Yeah, I know he's put a little bit of time practicing in this car specifically, so he'll be happy to gain the win in this one. Interesting that none of these drivers are opting to use the DRS function. Sam out front doesn't really need to. It's there for to be used on these cars. I don't have a curse system, but I do have DRS. And so far nobody opting to use it to gain that little bit of speed for an overtake, but we haven't seen many options for an overtake. We've got 3 cars on the lead lap. Johnny Joyrider is a lap down in 4th, and Ice Dude has dropped further behind. He's got a bit more damage on there. Is he keeping it out on track? He is. There's one of the cars back in. That is Kirby back into the pits. It's pretty much his race done now. He's got serious damage. 3 more minutes to go. Inter is also back into the pits for the 2nd time. Hopefully they're not giving him those very grain wet tyres. Hopefully they're just doing a little bit of repair work and away he goes. Jinx is doing a really good race so far with a heavily damaged car. He's got the leader up behind him now. See how he fares coming into this corner. Just nice and easy through Druids. Run this final corner, but keeps it through anyway. Charlie Guff, has he been able to gain a position with Kobe being in the pits? Fair amount of penalties coming through actually with the 12 drive overs. Jinx has managed to pick up 50-second penalty. One can only think that's for speeding in the pit lane. Same for Inter All Sorts. Unless Jinx has got a more serious penalty. But Jinx has now been removed from my sheet. So I wonder if there's been an issue there. I wonder if he's just picked up way too many penalties. And that's absolutely cost him. He's now out of the race. Too many penalties and he's gone. Inter All Sorts has now been promoted. All the drivers behind gained a position. Bit of a shame we've had quite a few issues in this car. It might be partly down to the track, but we also had a disconnection with Ambient Stub, who was running in P2. 3 seconds off Sam, who's had an absolutely flawless race flying around this track in a league on his own right now. And he's coming into the over the hill to cross the line for one more time. Let's jump on board with Sam for his final lap as he comes through the kink. Braking down into fourth gear as he comes now up the hill towards the shell curve. 5th gear, 6th gear, holds it round the 6th gear, beautifully lifting off a tiny bit into 2nd, slight under rotation on the front right, but got the car stopped. Then through the gears, get yourself slowed down for this very hard chicane. Be careful to stay off the curbs on the inside of those 2 corners because it will send the car flying. DRS open now for Sam as he comes down the hill. Under braking, DRS is closed. Can he get past these back markers with no trouble? He won't want to pick up any damage, not now. Not with 15 seconds left. Credits away and gets well off the racing line there. And the car ahead is that Ice. Does he know the leader is behind him? These cars don't have rear view mirrors, but he might have the one in game. Ice gets well off the line. Hopefully he doesn't spin the car on the gravel. And this is Sam finishing first for the first time in season 1. Further behind, is Wayne going to get position? No. So it's Sam who leads Larnaca in this Formula Renault 3.5. Kingy will take P3. Johnny Joyrider takes P4. Ice Dude has taken P5. Wayne very close behind with P6. Veilside will take P7. Inter All Sorts should take P8. Kobe P9. And Charlie Guff, who at one stage was flying around the course, more literally than figuratively, should take the final spot in P10 with 4 non-finishers. Once again, no one of those was a unfortunate disconnect, and we saw that Jinx picked up a rather large amount of penalties. So potentially for, I'm not sure, cut tracks. What's the issue as we see Charlie Goff just getting a bit sideways, just finishing the race. God, very squirrely as we come into the final corner there for Charlie. But that is your race winner, Sam Thumbfinger. And we check the timings. I think he should comfortably have the fastest lap as well. He does a 1:21.097. Veilside, unlucky for him to be a bit further down the order. Must have picked up a fair bit of damage. He clearly had the pace to be running up out front with Sam. Larnaca, a 1:22.0. Into all sorts, not able to get into the groove, but still had a good lap there at 1:24.5 and 1:29.8. So that was the final race of the season. Right, final race of the night. That was round 1. We'll be back for round 2 next Friday, 8 p.m. British time. We'll be racing around the Catalunya National Circuit. Same 5 cars, same track, same format with no qualifying, default setups. I really do hope you've enjoyed our racing tonight. Some of our racing has had some issues with some glitches early on. To bear with us, and hopefully you enjoyed a bit of the chats. Hopefully we'll be able to get a few more next week as well. Don't forget, if you've liked what you've seen so far, drop a like, subscribe if you want to see more of what we do. There's a couple of our old videos from season 1 on here. We'll try and get some more on for season 2 as and when we can. Other than that, I hope to see you next week. Thank you very much for joining. Hope you have a fantastic week.